Now my baseline crew get light to this. Bass, get right, bass, get right, bass, get right, bass, get right, bass, get bass,
love me like a ghost, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You love me like a ghost, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Just hold on, baby. I'm looking for you lately. It's been a little crazy, but maybe that's okay. Beauty like the sunrise, eyes like the moonlight. Hold my hand, it's alright, yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Never let me go. Walking through these walls, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Walking through these walls. Never let me go. Please don't close your eyes tonight. I need you by my side. Just hold on, baby. I'm looking for you lately. It's been a little crazy, but maybe that's okay. Beauty like the sunrise, eyes like the moonlight. Hold my hand, it's alright, yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Never let me go. Walking through these walls, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Walking through these walls. Never let me go.
Good evening, it's Phil, it's Gio, it's semi-finals week. That's right, one last session before we take it over to our grand finals at Insomnia, and we're going to be kicking off with a game that you might recognise from the last Insomnia.
You may be somewhat familiar with it. It's going to start, of course, with Saints versus Spartans. They were our two finalists from last season. I remember very fondly casting them up in the Caster's Nest at Insomnia. That was a great crowd as well.
Oh yeah, it was so good. Can't wait to be back there.
In fact, you can actually see your playoff brackets right now, so there they are, both sitting there. So the hope of potentially, how they might have had last season to recreate that final, not going to be possible because it's only going to be one of these teams going up against the winner of Pirates versus Swarm, who we will be seeing later on today.
Yeah, I mean, this is the third time these teams have met in the past few seasons, and it's the first time they're not meeting at the grand finals, which is a bit of a shame. But here we have your teams for the week, names you will hopefully recognise from previous weeks, previous seasons of Arena Clash. A few change-ups on the side of the Saints and the Spartans both.
Yeah, they have had some roster changes this season. We've mentioned it earlier on in the season, but both of them obviously still looking very strong they must have to be able to get to this point in the competition. Saints actually a team who have really captured my intrigue this season because right at the beginning of the season at the group stage, they didn't look all that strong in the first week or so when we casted them, and then when we saw them in the quarterfinals last week, they looked so much more coordinated. One of the big problems that they'd been having at the start of the group stage was when they should be using their ultimates, and yet this time round they looked so good, like they were all on the same page. And I think part of that maybe is to do with some of these new members they've had who've come in from more experienced backgrounds and be able to potentially whip the rest of the team into shape.
Yeah, and of course you can't overlook the fact that with these new players brought in, you don't have all of that pre-existing synergy that you had with your previous roster, so it can take a little time to get that off. And luckily the existing talent pool and the raw mechanics of the team have carried them through the group stage, so they've not necessarily suffered too badly as a result of not having the synergy in place. But we're going to shortly be seeing whether or not that synergy is going to carry them right the way through as we move over into our first map. Is going to be our control map, starting off in Busan Mecha Base, and of course any observer in the world on Mecha Base is always going to start coming in on this sort of upscaled defense matrix on the way into Busan Mecha Base.
Yeah, I've done it when making my own kind of practice VODs and things in the past. You always see how straight you can go down what did you call it? It's sort of like a runway.
It looks a lot like the Diva Defense Matrix. I know it isn't, but yeah.
That's where they all take off from, isn't it? Well, traditionally a GOATS point here on Mecha Base. We're actually going to be seeing those Reinhardts come out, and are very similar to the GOATS cores, of course. Not going to be able to last for very long after the 2-2-2 lock comes in.
This really is a last hurrah for this sort of setup, and Dark Dagger has been cut off a little bit, able to get around with the wall going down, but Dark Dagger's going to find the first kill. Here we are, Cheek 22, the main tank for Spartans, gets frozen out. Luckily, not enough damage there to take them out of the fight just yet, so still up as Saints back their way onto the point, and the Kronenberg unfortunately caught out there, tried to wall and freeze the way out of that, not managing to find out. It's going to be Kronenberg and Hazard down. Spartans looking to be in a really good position here to take the opening point in the opening fight.
Fuse Dog in that spot there where he was really the Mei who was able to get the most out of that fight, and when both teams are playing the Mei on this point, you really want to be looking out for which is being targeted the most, given that she will be going after those tanks, try and slow them down, make them an easier target, but also as she builds up closer to that blizzard, you can really start to CC off the point. And of course her walls to block off these all-important entrance ways. Really, she can just be such a hero of utility.
Ooh, right, well there's a whole bunch of ultimates, 2 on the ground thanks to the Earth Shadow, but Feastdog managing to find at least one target. Link's getting frozen out just by the blizzard. Then Feastdog, we know to be a pretty fearsome DPS player, getting in on the action there. Spartans have managed to do that with just one ultimate.
Just one ultimate, incredibly useful to them, and it leaves them with 4 on the board, getting actually very close as well to the sound barrier that they are, slowly ticking up towards, but it gives them a lot of utility that they could use, especially as Saints start to come in through this next wall.
Yeah,
Getting walled off here.
Yeah, Shadow came out, it found Lynx, Cheek22 also Gustin out of there. Here comes the Nano Boost, it gets put on to Hazard, who needs to start getting in a swing if they're going to do anything. That, but the Graviton Surge comes out from Dark Dagger. Lots of damage thrown in on the back of that. Kills starting to rack up now for Spartans, so that's going to be another team fight. Seemingly, Spartans untouchable at the minute.
Yeah, Phil, you actually mentioned there how Hazard would have really had to have got out of there and start swinging if he wanted to start catching up, but he also, not only being in the grav and being frozen, he also received the anti-nade as well off of Hammerfall, which is something that Saints can't put onto Spartans as they're not running an Ana, and focusing on that main tank so much as really the leader of this composition of this team is going to put Saints so much further behind. Cheek, so ready!
Cheeky, man, drop the wall, drop the hammer, drop the Saints right in and get the team kill. Beautiful play from the Spartans.
And just getting up close to that 100% mark here. The question is, are Saints going to be able to get in? I don't think so. Looking like no one's going to be able to touch. And that was a quick round to start things off.
Man, it really was. And I like Feastdog just in case somebody could get out and get past that blizzard just at the spawn door, just in case. But yeah, that was pretty dominant from Spartans. I think it's interesting that we have Kotanks, who I'm a little bit of a fan of, was playing the Brigitte that round, which was previously Padshak's role on that team.
Well, there were a lot of switch-ups in the kind of roles, because Feastdog traditionally we've been seeing on the Zarya throughout the Goats dynasty, and he was of course on the Mei there. So obviously everyone has to kind of switch up and change things around, but it is a testament to how flexible these players are, and it does set a good precedent as we do head into the 2-2-2, which will be soon coming to these teams. But here on Sanctuary, we are more likely to see some of those DPS heroes like Frostbite on the Pharaoh and Cronenberg here on the Widowmaker. The question is Dark Dagger or Kotanks on the DPS heroes of Spartan's own going to be able to bring down those heroes and provide enough pressure, especially to hold back that Pharaoh?
Man, there's a lot of disrupt coming out from Saints, though. Not least, of course, Frostbite up on the, well, not even the high ground, up in the skybox, raining in the pain, finds Hammerfall. That's going to be a really good opening for the team, taking main support down. Oh, and the second, that's no supports left online for the Spartans. Frostbite does now have the barrage ready to go. As get taken out by Kotanks, but it may be too little too late from Kotanks as we see the Res come back in to bring Frostbite back into the fight. Notably, Saints still have not cracked this point open just yet. Frostbite is going to put paid to that, though. Going to get rid of those last few stragglers and hopefully allow them to unlock and start ticking up that capture.
Part of it certainly came down to the fact that because so much pressure was being put on Lynx, I mean, you can see the comparison between his ult charge and Feastdog's. It meant that there wasn't quite as much attention being put onto Frostbite and Cronenberg, who came forward a little bit more and were able to add in some of the damage that allowed them to take that. But of course, look, we see Kotanks, he's actually switched over to the McCree, and that's going to make life a lot harder for Frostbite and potentially bring him down if Feastdog can get this good EMP onto him.
Found at least one target, wants to get the follow-up and try and get rid of the enemy Pharaoh. Isn't able to do it. The Pharaoh able to get out of the range and survive, has the barrage on board, ready to go. Feastdog on the hunt looking for more targets. Element was bringing Kotanks back into the fight now already. Feastdog knows who their priority is, keeps looking to try and get rid of Frostbite on the Pharaoh, who is getting heavily pressured and now getting heavily nano boosted. Has it ready to go, but slipped! Oh, that's unfortunate. Waste of a nano boost there, but Saints clearing up anyway. Even without Frostbite, it's just going to be Kotanks getting a parting blow there. And as we hit 55-0, Spartans maybe need to start looking to change something up here.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing, Phil. Dark Dagger and Cheek changing onto those dive tanks, so maybe they'll be able to dive onto Cronenberg if they can coordinate, successfully, which I suspect they will, knowing everything we know about this team. It looks like that should be something they'll be able to do. Now we're actually seeing some changes in the DPS. Constant switching here, but if Kotanks is actually going to be staying on the Tracer rather than the Genji, which he was sitting on just then he also will be able to provide that backline harassment. It looks like that is what Spartan's goal is going to be here.
Well, we weren't on board with it, but Frostbite with a 1-for-1 trade there, getting rid of Hammerfall, Dark Dagger going down at the same time. Cronenberg able to just take up this uncontested point on the point itself and dealing the damage without actually being contested. We do lose Magic Marv, who did have the ultimate ready to go. Dive comes out from Cheek, managing to get the kill onto Cronenberg there with a punch. Frostbite now coming back in on the Doomfist. And we've got the minefield coming out from Magic Marv's. Going to make it very hard for them to get in and get any of this point progress captured. As we hit 99-0 for what was an incredibly one-sided fight on Mecha Base, it's gone right back the other way here on Temple.
Yeah, very much so. Spartans just not really being able to find their break, and it really does come down to how they've coordinated around the DPS of Saints and maybe not picking entirely the right targets. And when they actually started to make those swap-ups, it just was a little bit too late, and Saints already had the momentum in their own ultimates and their own resources to keep on going.
Yeah, but I don't know, what does that say about the teams that we've had such a disparity in performance between these two maps? I kind of want to see what happens here before making too many judgments on that, but it seems like Saints maybe have the better multi-DPS lineup just based on that one map.
That's certainly something that we should look out for. I mean, it could come down to the fact that Spartans aren't all that used to going against the triple DPS because they're so used to goats. It could also just be that's the way it went. I mean, I have in the past gotten into such a bad habit of basing my predictions of a series on the control map, and you just kind of can't do that, you know, especially as Mecha Base and Sanctuary are two very, very different maps. But of course, heading into downtown now, we will be seeing Feazdog on the Widowmaker. He actually played in the Widowmaker Showdown in the last couple of days that was put on by Caster's Nest, which was really nice to see. So I want to see some of that skill that we were able to see in that free-for-all.
Yeah, Feazdog played on the low ground, playing super aggressive here, looking for these angles. He's going to try and pressure down Hazard, who is having to deal with a couple of different angles there. Whoa! The barrage out super early from Dark Dagger! Absolutely massive team kill. What a play! Where did that even come from?
That was
How did
beautiful.
he have time?
The thing is, with the way that downtown is, kind of laid out, you either come through main and it's a very open entrance, or you come around the side, round towards where the train is, and that makes you a really susceptible funnel for those Pharaoh rockets, especially with the splash damage that they also carry.
Yeah.
So now actually we've seen Saints also switch things up.
Oop.
Trying to bring Feazdog down, or at least distract him enough, pressure him out so he's not providing, his own pressure onto Saints, because they don't need that right now.
Yeah,
if they're hoping to break into the point.
Bit of a pocket there from Element Wiz, and it wasn't enough because Feazdog survived that, and Dark Dag was able to find Mia whilst all that was going on. So throwing your main tank into contest DPS, maybe not the best investment here, and we're going to see Kotanks with the Dragon ready to go, and with Infrasides out from Feazdog, really Saints are going to have to just give that 10 seconds over to Spartans, or else risk getting headshot, dragoned, or both.
That is a hard thing, well, a hard pill to swallow, I'd say, because it means that you have to voluntarily offer up that time, which you ideally would like to use, trying to push onto the point. The Dragon Strike is out.
Yeah, he's getting... Whoa! Managing to find Cronenberg as well. I thought that hadn't got anything. I was getting so ready to cast what was going on with this Wrecking Ball. Solo engaging against Kotanks. Element was able to bring Hammerfall back in. Dark Dagger, 60% and climbing. Not going to be a hack target there. Going to survive through that. Able to pressure the enemy Sombra out. And looks like Spartans are going to hold on at the very least for now. Saints don't quite have a coordinated attack just yet, although Frostbite finds Feazdog, and Lynx in a position here really to get rid of Hammerfall, does have to back out, and Frostbite gets a cheeky double with the Pharaoh Rockets, looking for the third, trying to find Kotanks. Kotanks low and down. So Frostbite, we saw how strong they were in the previous round, swapping over onto the Pharaoh now, really opened this up for Saints.
It is really good that Frostbite was able to find that, because the way that Cheek 22 was positioned was right in the middle, so being able to get behind that shield was paramount to their success in taking the point back. But given that Spartans are on 92%, Saints can't afford to lose the forthcoming fight, so Lynx is going to have to get a really well-timed EMP. I suspect he'll be looking to get it onto Dark Dagger mostly, maybe after Hammerfall has used the nano boost onto him, because then you will have mitigated both of those ultimates.
That was a quick double coming out from Kotanks. I thought we were about to see an end to Cheek 22 there, but Kotanks able to pressure out Lynx before anything major could happen. We do lose Feazdog. Frostbite on the hunt with the barrage. Found a target, doesn't need it, gets slept as part of that exchange. Maybe it's an exchange you're happy with there, but Dark Dagger coming in once more with the barrage, ready to go. Out comes the nano boost onto the Wrecking Ball, but Saints look like they might have to get out of trouble there, although barrage from Frostbite finds one, but Magic Marv with the second. Dark Dagger also, and a triple out from the EMP on Lynx. Lynx looking like he might well have opened up things for his team there. It seemed like Spartans were about to flip before that happened.
Yeah, it certainly was an investment, and so now that's put Saints in this position where Spartans can come in and use their ultimates, particularly if they're going to use that supercharger, which will give them that all-important damage boost, and Saints just don't have all that much to answer for it. Magic Marv can potentially get a minefield, but when you're looking at a Hanzo and a Pharah being your primary threats, ooh, that was really nice. But
yeah, Feast Dog cracked this case wide open. Put on your Sherlock Holmes hat and call the police, because that is going to be Spartans opening things up for the 3. Out comes the barrage, gets Mia as well. That's going to be them flipping this over, and unless Saints can get back in incredibly quickly here, this is going to be the map going to the Spartans.
They could, of course, potentially turn things around. They are touching it, but Feast Dog just getting these perfect shots.
Yeah, clearly that warm-up at the Widowmaker tournament over the weekend really helping him out here.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, I have to agree. He is a great DPS, and he's probably enjoying actually being on that DPS role rather than being stuck in tank hell as he's been subjected to. It's nice seeing Dark Dagger here actually get this play of the game, and it was such a fast barrage and managing to get that whole team kill. Look, they're just all in one space. You also have the anti-nade on it as well. It was kind of just like, I don't know.
Well, you know, the logic is you stand under that little alcove so that you can sort of contest the point without putting too much effort into it. But it does all make you a nice sort of meaty group target for an ultimate like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know, the idea is that you're trying to use as much of that cover that you have available to you as possible, but yeah, Farah's just going to jump in and do that into you, because they're obviously not expecting Dark Dagger to have the barrage that early, so that's really not what they were kind of expecting to be facing, and it happened anyway.
I think it's really telling. If you were watching the numbers on that ult charge as we were coming into that play of the game, it was at 86, and then a boosted rocket hit all of them, gave them the last 14% to get that ultimate.
In one go.
Yeah, can't afford to stand quite under the rain of Pharaoh rockets like that if you want to survive.
Yeah, and this certainly puts things into perspective, because at the beginning I was talking about how much improvement Saints have had over the course of the season, especially with their ultimate economy and things like that, and I really put a lot of praise on them, especially in the quarterfinals. Their supports particularly, because how much their supports were really sustaining the team and how much leadership seemed to be coming out from them. Now, we actually saw quite a lot of swaps in Saints where, you know, Hazard was on the Mercy at some point, but then he was on the Reinhardt at one point, so you didn't have that really consistent support line, and potentially that's part of the reason why things were going a little bit wrong. You know, Mia seemed a little bit pressured at some point. There was a really early or late even nano boost onto a Pharah sort of after a fight had already kind of come to an end, which wasn't ideal. So this will be something to look out for to see if they're going to improve throughout the series, but it just does go to show that in spite of how much improvement that they have made over the course of the season, there's still teams that are going to be able to call their bluff and going to be able to get the better of them and exploit them, and right now that's what it's looking like Spartans are doing very well.
But as you said during that map, it's kind of hard to make predictions on how the rest of the set is going to go based just on control, because it is the most chaotic, hard to predict of all the map types that we have, so we're not ready to completely rule this in favour of Spartans just yet. So let's, as we move over into our next map, let's maybe see if we can get Saints to bring this back and take us to 1-1 in the series.
Yeah, well, it can obviously either be Horizon the Economy or Hanamura. Looking like it's going to go to Hanamura, and it is the choice of the loser. So Saints have chosen this map for themselves, but the winner does choose which side they're going to start on. So it's looking like Spartans, of course, going to be starting on the defense. That's fairly classic. You get an advantage on the defense because when the attacking round is done, you know exactly how much you need to achieve. So obviously if they only get 1 point or if they don't get anything, you know that you only need to win 1 fight or 2 fights. So it really does put you in that advantage with the information and the intel that you have available to you.
Interestingly, we've got Kotanks on the Pharah here, which, you know, we've seen him play a lot of heroes. I don't think we've seen him play Pharah so far this season.
I don't remember about this season, but, you know, he's a flex DPS, and it's part of his repertoire, at least it should be. That's kind of what comes under it, but you can tell that Spartans are just really ready to ambush.
Yeah, what a
Saints.
Oh, I see. Of course, they don't know that FizzDog is on the bait. They're trying to bait that in. They want them to come and dive, and obviously then come and have FizzDog get the big old freeze and get the team kill off the back of that. Cronenberg gets found out by the spam damage from the Pharah. They know where he is. Gets grabbed out.
No.
Kotex with the follow-up. Big dive coming out from Frostbite is going to see Hammerfall go down. They do have a Mercy there to get the res back in. Dark Dagger gets slipped and taken down. Frostbite now in the back line. Oh, managing just to dash out of the way of the incoming rocket. Kotex on the hunt. Wants these connects, but not going to happen. Looks like Saint might roll this on one push.
A really dangerous point. That Frostbite was in there as he had to commit so much to just save himself from the Pharah, and that just kind of goes to show how much pressure Kotex was putting on, and it looked like it was in dire straits when Cronenberg was taken down, because the second you know where that Sombra is, and Saints are relying on the Sombra in this composition, when they know where the Sombra is and they halt her out and manage to kill her, that's when you think this is going to go completely wrong. But the attention was split, and that gave Saints the in. You know, they went in with confidence and just with conviction and went, we're just going to go for this. And actually that split attention that Spartans had was enough for them to exploit to actually make it through to that first point.
Yeah, and of course Saints, they're setting up their own win condition. They want the nano boosted EMP Dragon Blade, but Sleeping Sombra is not going to make that go particularly well. Frostbite now trying to get in and pressure Jaru gets out of dodge, does manage to find the kill onto Lynx, but that's both Anna's down. Elemental Weeds coming in with a D-Mech in the kill onto Frostbite. Magic Marv dealt with. Hazard with the Primal Rage coming in, displacing. Wow, displacing, getting kills. Hazard really turning up for his team now. That's going to allow them to start to build some real capture progress here, although it might just be Hazard and Mia left on the point. Out comes the self-destruct from Dark Dagger. Not able to find anything. FizzDog gets Hazard whilst all that is going on. Spartans look like they may be able to hold off now.
Yeah, it was great that Hazard made a lot of space, but he didn't make a lot of space that could be used. I mean, Lynx had gone down just seconds before, so he was still returning then from spawn. The nano wasn't available. Cronenberg, I don't believe, had even got the EMP at that point because he just seemed to not be able to catch a break right now. So yes, that you know, that Primal Rage could have potentially been great, but you have to have a team there who can actually follow up on it for it to be successful.
Yeah, well, out comes the
detected.
Translocator. EMP. Looks like all the edge pieces have been found. Here comes the jigsaw that is the nano-boosted EMP Dragon Blade. They get two with that, and they've bought a whole heap of point presence. That's 2 bits captured. Frostbite looking for more with a dash reset. Is going to help get the kill onto FizzDog. Oh, the sound barrier cancelled. Elemental Wiz not able to complete. And Kotex coming in with the rally is going to find Frostbite. Hammerfall swapping over on to the Moira is going to go down also. And for Saints at this point, it's just about getting this as quickly as you can. Spartans would like to burn off as much time from this as they possibly can, because 3 minutes, 46 seconds is pretty huge. But a big Graviton Surge out from FizzDog, not a huge amount of follow-up damage coming out for them, means that they might just be able to hold off here, and that's going to be Spartans continuing to hold on the defense and a potential, no, it's not going to be a big stagger onto Magic Marv, it's going to be a get out of my swamp moment for Magic Marv.
Oh, Saints invested everything there, and the fact that it wasn't enough to just push through is going to be very disappointing. And I think the part of it being the fact that FizzDog was really held back by the you know, defense matrix being focused on him. That meant he could actually use the grab right at the end there, just after Saints had used everything. Now we're seeing a few swaps up. Hammerfall going onto the Zenyatta and Magic Marv switching onto the Zarya of his own, maybe hoping to get a grab. But Jaro just trying to focus out Cronenberg here while the fight is occurring on the other side.
Nano boost out from Lynx, gets Hazard. Hazard in turn able to find Element Wiz, swinging away looking for kills. Only finds the one though. Has helped him get 43% towards the ultimate. Gets displaced right across the gap there onto the alternating high ground. And now Jared with the Primal Rage looking to just build as much confusion as possible into this team fight. Dark Dagger will have the self-destruct ready to go. It's going to be really useful for clearing them off the point if they decide to push in further. Cronenberg with the EMP hits 4, and there's no support ults for the Spartans. This could be really devastating for them. Lynx is going to get Jaru. Cronenberg still looking for hacks. Out comes the self-destruct from Dark Dagger. Buys a little bit of space, doesn't find any kills. Really, we need a bit more value out of the ultimates from that, and now the rally from Frostbite as well. Dark Dagger going to try and pressure down some of these low ground targets. Has identified that Lynx is up on the high ground. Opts not to invest any of the mobility to try and get them just yet. FizzDog falls down, but Magic Marv 94% and climbing a huge tick up in ult charge there, and this is looking pretty good for Saints. Out comes the Graviton Surge. It finds the Wrecking Ball, and now we're going to see Hazard looking to try and stop the ingress. Big charge, nano boost, connects and takes out FizzDog. Round 1 complete.
I think the indicative moment that Saints were actually going to be able to do that was when FizzDog went down, because FizzDog was one of the players who had received so much support in those rounds, you know, constantly, of course, using his own bubble as he was playing on the Zarya, but also having the repair pack as well, and he just seemed to always be the one person who was kind of left over at the turning point when Spartans were able to start returning from spawn, come back and turn the fight back in their favor. So the fact that FizzDog was finally able to be brought down was probably a very optimistic moment there for Saints. And I don't know, Saints just seemed, in some of their target prioritization, a little bit sloppy. For example, there was a bit where I believe it was Cronenberg who was on the Sombra, you know, hacked someone out straight after his EMP, and then we saw the Reinhardt go charge straight in, which, like, great, that's not the worst thing in the world, except Cronenberg had already killed the person by the time Reinhardt got there, and the person was in that little dip down there, so then if the Reinhardt wants to get back up onto the main part of the point to continue on in the fight, well, that's quite a long commute. And so it's just little things like that where you have to figure out where best is your, you know, efforts, you know, gonna be used. And there were certain moments like that for Saints that they didn't quite get the formula right.
Yeah, absolutely. But for Spartans, I feel like they had such a poor point A defense that Saints can burn a huge amount of time and get themselves a very good time bank advantage coming into the next couple of rounds.
They are pretty much going to have to burn a lot of time here on the point A, because Spartans were able to burn a lot of time on point B. Again, Cronenberg looking... Okay, he's getting in the Wrecking Ball, so that means the Wrecking Ball actually can't now start dividing attention, so Spartans have got to back out.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a huge misplay, because look how much ult charge Cronenberg got out of that halfway to the EMP, just on a misplaced charge, or misplaced swing coming out from Jaru, who swaps over onto the Reinhardt. Unfortunately, it's not going to reset Cronenberg's ult charge, Jaru.
I mean, Cronenberg deserves a little bit of vindication after being caught out so much in the last round, right?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, okay, we're going for this round the houses rotation coming out from Spartans. FizzDog trying to get a little bit of attention, managing to TP out before they got caught themselves. This is a really long rotation coming out from Spartans. Don't see this very often.
Yeah, and all of Saints, of course, have had to rotate onto the point themselves to try and guard it, shield down.
Yeah, well, that's a nice start. Frostbite down, and now we can really start getting some work done as Darklicker finds Hazard as well. FizzDog with the hack there onto Mia. Mia going down, so this is looking great for Spartans. I was worried at the start that they might not be able to get this done in quite such a quick time, but maybe not quite as quick, but still a very good point A attack.
Well, Saints, they were prepared for the attack from Spartans, so what they did, they used their abilities and their cooldowns in preparation. And so all Spartans had to do was just wait for those cooldowns to suddenly not be there anymore, and they could rush in, and suddenly there's not a main tank shield available and whatnot, and that made it very easy for them. So 5.5 minutes, which is about what Saints had when they were coming in. Cronenberg does have his EMP ready.
Yeah, who's going to go first? Well, it is going to be Cronenberg. Gets 4. Hammerfall and FizzDog avoiding that, but no support ults there to keep anybody alive. Jaru getting a parting blow there onto Frostbite. Cronenberg trying to get out of dodge with the Translocator. Has come face to face with the Reinhardt. Gets charged and pinned. And out comes the rally from Kotank. Spartans are really committing into this. Element Wiz goes down. Out comes the Nano Boost onto Jaru. Gets charged. Survives it. Is going toe-to-toe with Hazard. Hazard down. Spartans looking in a good position to take this in a crazy time. That's going to be it. Wow.
That was exceptionally quick. So it's going to be going on to a next round, of course. And as you say, Spartans, they're going to have more time to do it in than Saints did.
Ooh, by quite a margin.
That would be 3 minutes. Thank you very much. And so, of course, Saints, they're going to be starting off on the attack themselves. And what I want to be seeing is kind of what I mentioned earlier. I want to see some better target prioritization, because in that last attack there by the Spartans, that's what we saw. It was so clean who they were going for. Who are they going to hack? Who are they going to call out? Who is Jaru going for? Are there other people dealing damage into the same member? At what point is he receiving the nano? And that's something that seems so much more polished than what we have seen on the side of Saints. Now, Saints looking like they're going to be going for the same attacking composition they did last time. But the thing is, Cronenberg got caught out a lot last time, and we know that kind of infamously this composition can sometimes take a little while to build up to get the EMP Nano Blade, and with only 1 minute 44 on the clock, is it going to be enough time?
Well, you can sort of stagger out these ultimates. They have a good amount of value on their own. They just work best when they're all three together. So, you can use the Nano Boost to try and get Blade. But you're right, 1 minute 44, unless these guys are so good on their attack that they maybe don't even need the ultimates to do it, it's going to be a real struggle to get these.
Yeah, and especially with Hammerfall on the Ana, who can just throw in an anti-nade to that opening choke right here where we see Cronenberg. Okay. That's going to make it really hard for Saints to potentially come in as a group, so they're going to have to commit to a fight, and then you'll just have Jaru ready to dive on in. Okay, Saints, they're changing up now. They've decided exactly it's not going to work out when going against that monkey goats. So they should be aiming to just kind of walk on straight through, have Hazard, of course, shielding the team.
Yeah, scouting's great, but it costs them 30 seconds, and they lose Frostbite so early into the fight. Cronenberg looking for targets to try and generate this EMP, hasn't found them. Kotank's also finding Maya here. Cronenberg still in on this rotation, has come back, will have the EMP just about ready, but we're looking at really one more good fight for Saints.
They don't have much time whatsoever, and of course they are close to the EMP, as you say, so that opportunity. But if Spartans are going to be kind of spread out, who is it they're going to be going for? Jaru's so ready with the Primal Rage he could use to just bat Saints off course.
Yeah, well, they're going for the quick rotation. Oh. There's the hack, but Jaru finds Cronenberg as it comes off, but losing the main tank, not a great start. Hazard with the short-range charge. Yes, Element Whiz as well. And this is all going to come crumbling down for the Spartans. Saints, whoa, they even threw in the Nano Boost onto Feastock to try and keep them up in the fight, but might be too little, too late. We are going to just about tick down into overtime as we complete here, but Saints are going to be coming in with 2 tank ults and almost the Nano Boost.
Yeah, so they do have that available to them. They're going to require it, but because, of course, it's this third round, they only get 30 seconds on the point in which to use it. Is that enough for them to be able to build up this EMP, or are they going to have to rely on what they have right now? I want to be seeing a good grab as Spartans jump down. There we go.
Well, it finds 1, but 2 of Spartans volunteer as tribute, jump into it themselves. Out comes the answering Graviton Surge from Feastock. Does do a lot to lock Saints into this, but Saints have the kills in their favour, and they are going to complete.
Able to do it, and that was massive. The fact that Feastock, yes, he used that Graviton Surge to keep them off the point, but what he did not realise was that there were certain members, most importantly Mia, who had used the sound barrier, who were off the point. They were able to stay on and build things up because no one on Spartans was there to contest. And importantly, they have 2.1 seconds. This was not in overtime.
Yeah, just not in overtime. But that's crazy to think they went from point A to capturing the point in just under 28 seconds.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And it pretty much all came down to, I was going to say it came down to the Graviton. Hazard did a very good shatter on top as well. He got that 3k off the back of it. So that was really great. Spartans preparing their own attacking composition, but the thing is they're going to be going up against this bunker composition where we're going to be relying on the immortality that can be provided by the Batiste. Lynx repping that hero, and Hazard, of course, he is going to be likely pocketed by Mia because you want to keep your Bastion alive, healthy, damage boosted, able to deal in as much as you possibly can. And so Spartans going to be going for the dive composition, which is, probably the best idea because you pretty much just want to go in, cause chaos, dive onto this composition, onto this defense as best you can rather than hanging around.
Yeah, but I think Spartans have identified that we are playing Bastion's point-and-click adventure. Would not surprise me to see a couple of changes. That's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Kotanks to swap over onto the Genji. A much more sensible way to try and crack this bunker.
And so the key is going to be, at what point is Lynx going to bring out this Immortality Field, and whose job is it going to be to deal in the 250 HP damage required to bring it down, because then that will be their point of opportunity.
Yeah, but here's the thing, you saw it happen. Frostbite just put down the trap and a concussive mine there. Ooh, Feast over
Nice.
there. Finds the...
It's a great
there we
little window.
go. Great, yeah, beautiful, useful window as Dark Dagger gets Hazard. In fact, Dark Dagger really cracked this wide open. Feastdog did so well to get in and get that hack. Kotanks gets the kill with a dash reset. We are going to see Hazard in a position to set up here, but a Bastion on their own. Bastion might be a scary kind of guy to play against, but on his own, not a lot he can do to take space as Kotanks coming in, taking Hazard out. Hammerfall coming back from spawn, and we're going to see 3 minutes 30 seconds on the clock still, and we're going to get another 30 seconds on top of that. Kotanks here, desperate to get that change off as quickly as possible. We're going to move back over onto the Brigitte now that the bunker is well and truly busted.
Actually, ironically, now Spartans have got the same amount of time for the point that that you gain back in the old patch, where you had gained 4 minutes. So they've got a healthy, beefy amount of time to come in and do this. And because both sides have changed their composition, Saints switching more onto that 3-2-1, then it is going to be kind of this reset of ultimate.
Well, yeah, except Feastdog way out in front.
Well,
here.
yeah, I was going to say Feastdog and Element Wiz, they're going to be the ones who kind of have that power on their shoulders.
Yeah, Cronenberg here looking for targets. You can see a sleeping Reinhardt up there on the ledge. Oh, charge comes through, doesn't connect anything. Meantime, Feastdog. Oh, gets stunned out of the EMP! That's absolutely massive! Saints in a huge position to take this over now. Dark Dagger still trying to do this. Jaru swinging away with the hammer. The sound barrier comes out also. The Spartans are all in on this. They may be down in numbers, but they are not down in spirit as the charge connect onto Hazard. Out comes the EMP, immediately smashed into oblivion by that meaty Reinhardt hammer. And now Jaru still on point, swinging. I haven't seen this guy put his shield up for a long time. Needs to take a breather. 2 minutes 40 seconds, and it is shattering the charge. Come on! Yeah, we've got the wrecking ball out. We've got stall heroes plenty now. Saints just want as much time off this as they can manage, and poor Frostbite didn't even manage to connect to the ground with that Doomfist ability before he was stunned out. Spartans looking very good here, but we might get a bit more stall coming out from the Saints. Wrecking ball managing to get a bit of a swing there, but gets hacked. Still has the adaptive shields melted down. Graviton Surge secures the kill onto Frostbite. Here comes the rally and the grab. Jaru free to swing, and they've only got to get, what's that, another 18% of the point. They can just kind of press W mouse 1 at this point and just get the win on that point. That's a big old time bank though.
Yeah, definitely, especially compared to 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, like, I'm not a mathematician, but 2.1 is definitely a lot smaller than, what have they got, 256? Although they are going to have a minute. They get put banked up to a minute.
They do get that.
But I can compare numbers. I know how this works.
That's why I got my degree, so I could do the hefty maths like that.
Exactly.
No, I mean, actually, really, the EMP that came out from Cronenberg was a great EMP. There just wasn't the point presence from Saints to follow it up, and so Spartans were able to just kind of keep on going, even though they didn't have their resources, really available to them. Able to keep on going, they actually held their own, and then at that point, Saints were being super trickled through. And so now, of course, Saints, once again, on the attack, and because they've seen how well Spartans can attack on their next round, they are aware that there's a lot of pressure on them because they don't have anywhere near as much time, and even in the situation where they were able to take 2 points in quick succession, it wasn't quite enough to put them in that forward position. And of course, they also don't want to be falling into the trap of running similar things to what they did before, and Spartans just being able to completely recreate what it was they did last time that brought them out.
Yeah, but on this attack, Saints, if they play this well, have 2 goes at doing this. So it is going to be a bit of an uphill struggle, but I have confidence that if anyone is going to give it their best try, it's going to be the Saints as they come rolling in with this 3-2-1. Going straight to point, but a big anti-nade coming out from Hammerfall. is going to see Cronenberg go down. Jaru and Dark Dagger getting the rest. Saints need a quick reset here so they can have this one last fight. And we are going to see Nia and Magic Marv take the dive there to facilitate that. 30 seconds left on the clock, all to play for.
It looked almost like Cronenberg was kind of being somewhat of a martyr to sort of keep Jaru's attention so that he didn't dive onto the recently anti-naded rest of his team, but it wasn't quite enough. He's just able to get so much more. Here we go, Feasdog getting that early hack onto Hazard.
Is counter hack though?
He does get counter hacked, which is going to give him a hard time, but the important thing is there's not really the shield there.
No, there's no follow-up. You can't get up there and contest him. Hack comes through once more. 2 kills already, and it's unfortunate, but that might be it for Saints. We're down into overtime, and honestly, something miraculous would need to happen, and we are all out of miracles, unless you call a rapidly spinning gorilla a miracle, which is maybe the wrong kind of miracle. Not quite sure what was happening to Jaru at the end. They're maybe just excited.
You know, I've actually been really impressed with Jaru. I think he's been playing very well. It's so easy as a main tank to be over-aggressive and get a little bit inty, but Jaru's actually been really great. And obviously it doesn't entirely come down to him. It comes down to the synergy with the team, where it is, targets are being called. And some people like to run their main tank as a target caller, but a lot of people prefer to run the main support as the in-game leader, that target caller. So it is really nice to see that he always knows exactly where it is he wants to be. And that's not to say that Hazard hasn't been like that, but Hazard's been caught out a lot more because Spartans are a lot more coordinated in specifically targeting him.
Okay. Now, the reason you can hear me laughing is because I'm looking at this comp and going, Spartans are never going to run that, but they've got 2 minutes 56 seconds. They can afford
Spartans
to run
will run
a
it.
Symmetra here. If it doesn't work, great, we come back and try again. And, I'm a big Kotanks fan. I don't think I've seen him play Symmetra before. I'm keen to see what he can do on that hero.
Nah, he's not actually going to be playing the Symmetra. Although, I mean, Symmetra just wouldn't be too terrible because you completely bypass this main courtyard, which causes people so many issues. But they are, again, going to be likely attempting to go straight for the composition. The Saints are running. Now, of course, Feasdog could just do the same thing as last time and hack from behind the window. But I suspect, at least I would hope that Saints would be a little bit more cognizant of the potential of that. What are Spartans?
Well, I think that was weird. That was Jaru kind of trying to do the Widowmaker thing. We getting the quick change. Ooh, I like this. Cronenberg knows there is a risk.
Straight away again.
Yeah, but there's the hack. Going to see the dive come in pretty soon after, hopefully. Hazard gets hacked, gets antied. 56 health and climbing. Managing to get out of that and get up. But Kotanks and Dark Dagger, whilst all that drama was happening, able to get a couple of key kills, and now it is Hazard fighting a rearguard action. Has to back off the point. Is just going to get taken apart by those shurikens, and that is going to be Spartans taking us to 2-0 in the series.
And this is the thing now, Phil. If Saints hope to make it into the finals, they have to reverse sweep this series. And this is just simply a best of 5. We don't play a 4th map if it goes to 3, 3-0 straight away. So Spartans, all they have to do is win the next map, and that is it. Of course, it will be Saints who do choose what that map is. But Saints chose what this map was, and Spartans were still able to take them all the way. So this is where things get really down to the wire, because this team, who once were champions, they once were finalists, now potentially having their story ended at the semi-finals, that's a crazy story, and that is something that they don't want to see happen to themselves.
No, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's starting to look a little bit like a set of steps for Saints, where, they started on the top rung as champions, and then second place, and now coming out in the semi-finals. And part of this, we spoke earlier in the day about how they are missing a few key players. Those of you that are Arena Clash aficionados may notice that we don't currently have Curio in the lineup. Previously, the main support for Saints. He was
a flex support. Come on now.
Sorry. I believe currently home from university for a while, playing for one of our other teams. And so, they're missing a lot of that first place, second place talent that we had previously.
And it's not to say that the talent that has taken those places aren't that. That is definitely not it, because we've received actually some really fantastic talent onto this team. But it is it does somewhat come down to the fact they haven't been playing together quite as much. That we know that they've had to deal with certain issues. They've had to, scrim, VOD review, whatever, as any good team does, to try and improve on a number of issues. But because there are a number of issues brought in as a result of there being new players who have to get used to each other, have to learn each other's playstyle on the cusp of a changing meta, is one season enough time to actually fully fix those? Or is it going to more be a situation of, okay, we got really far this season, next season's going to be our one because we are going to grind. But obviously their story is not over yet. Anything could happen at this point, but right now it's obviously looking very, very good for Spartans, and the question is whether Saints can build themselves back up to that.
Well, stranger things have happened. We are at match point, but the reverse sweep is a thing. It happens a surprising amount of time. So, let's see if we're going to go all the way through to a 5-map series.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, for the next map, the choices are either King's Row or Eichenwald.
Correct.
So, obviously going to be going into the hybrid. I think I'm hearing in the ear it's going to be Eichenwald.
Yes, of course, that's Eichenwald to everyone who doesn't speak German.
Well,
Eichenwald
in German it would be Eichenwalde.
Yeah, there we go.
But you'd have to say the at the end.
There we go. You see, Overwatch analysis and German lessons. These are the reasons you tune into Arena Clash. And translate that for us, please.
That says up to 20%
rabbits.
off, I guess.
20% rabbits, everybody.
Yeah. This actually means until, but Germans are very strange with their prepositions, so they can pretty much mean anything.
I see. Well, yeah, tune in after these games for the remainder of the German language stream.
Shut up.
Yeah. Well, going to be starting off, and this is a pretty familiar look out from Saints, and, well, maybe not quite such a familiar look for Spartans, though. Saints looking to come out with a bit of a dive comp. Spartans bunkering up behind an Orisa shield, but a lot of DPS there.
Spartans just trying to throw, I don't know, the proverbial into the fan, I guess.
Nothing worse than proverbials in your fans.
I know, I hate it. But they're trying to protect themselves off of a dive. That's why we have Kotanks out here playing the McCree. He can use the flashbang, particularly against the Winston, which we see Hazard on. And Feesdog, of course, we say it every time there's a Soldier 76, but the main reason there is you don't really have to rely so much on the healing and the protection of the rest of your team, and you can come around and do these flanks because you have your own sustenance in the form of the biotic field.
Yeah, and then you can
chased down.
Mostly outrun the Gorilla. Fell incredibly low there. Luckily had the healing pack to keep himself up. Kotank's now on the high ground. I think that was a nice play actually from Feesdog.
I love it because he sort of saw someone coming for him. He just turned and ran. He just ran. That's the best strat.
Yeah, of course. Feesdog playing the soldier with those robo legs, that burst of speed, always useful. Now on the hunt, knows Sombra around here somewhere, can afford to play some slightly greedier angles, able to get around and pressure that dive as it comes in, but he has picked out that there is going to be... Oh! Saw the Ana, didn't see the Sombra. Kronenberg takes down Feesdog. Jaru going to get rid of Dark Dagger as well, but Frostbite able to get in and also generate that Dragon Blade, getting in, getting one with that, now going for the main tank, has the Fortify, not going to be enough to help them survive through that. A great attack coming out from Saints is going to capture that point A in a very quick time.
That was an absolutely fantastic Dragon Blade, and that's what we've been wanting to see every time this composition comes out. Didn't even use it with the EMP, you can just do it on your own. Great, not even the Nano. But obviously moving into the next point, is the composition going to be quite as good? I mean, Sombra's not too bad here. There's some open space, can get lots of people in the EMP. Probably not likely to use it while they're all up on this high ground. Because, I stand corrected.
Yeah, Kronenberg did get maybe pressured into using that. They knew he was up there. Feesdog now has the... Soldier 76 attack visor out, gets linked, gets the translocator also, which maybe not the most value out of an ultimate like that, really. Dark Dagger will have the self-destruct ready to go, coming in trying to protect Element Wiz. Unfortunately, Defense Matrix cannot absorb a Genji Slash. Frostbite already climbing towards that next ultimate as we see the D-Mate coming through. Just the pilot form. Survives maybe a little longer than expected there.
My assumption really with why the Tag Visor was brought out is because when Saints used the EMP, all of Spartans were up on the high ground, and so there was probably this assumption that they were just using it to keep them there because they weren't really going to go up and try and take that fight on the high ground necessarily, and so maybe FizzDog could have potentially had an easy view down onto Saints, but it didn't work out for them.
Uh-oh. Well, self-destruct out from both now, but Kotanks and FizzDog, that DPS duo between them, getting a quick double element whiz, getting the opposite number. Also, Kotanks being pressured with the flashbang, is able to secure the DMAC. Can they also find the kill? Yeah, well, with a little bit of help from the Helix rocket at the end there, Spartans are going to retake control of the point.
Yeah, really, Frostbite going down there was the kind of clincher being like, okay, what are you doing?
What is this?
FizzDog
is
maybe
bait.
he just wanted to be sent to spawn.
I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I would say, oh yeah, there's nowhere to really reset on this part of the map, but that's such a lie because there's a massive bottomless pit.
Yeah.
Really
I managed to find that all the time by accident.
I don't know. Maybe FizzDog is literally just trying to rub it in Saint's face.
Well, Spartans need to get in and contest this. FizzDog comes in with the reposition, going to have that tactical visor once more. Gets one with it, links down, taken out by Frostbite once more with the EMP. Dragonblade, nothing coming out of that high noon either. Pretty much all eaten, I think, there by the D.Va. Kotanks eventually down. 4 minutes, 8 seconds left to go for Saints to push this all the way.
And the sad thing is at the end there, Magic Marv tried really hard to be able to get to get to Genji in time to protect him from the Deadeye, but it wasn't there quite quick enough, so they did go down. But as you say, they have made it through to this next point. Cronenberg going to be looking to get a key hack. There we go, getting it onto Dark Dagger.
Yeah, not really in a great position to get the follow-up damage you maybe want to tick up that ultimate, although not doing too badly from range. In comes the self-destruct, nano-boosted Reinhardt also has it. Bit of a danger with that hammer. Wow, the random charge coming out from Jaru does connect, doesn't find the kill. Element with Cronenberg has it now, will very shortly have the hammer down. Has it taken out almost all the way to that ultimate as Jaru coming in with the cleanup. Swinging that hammer, knocking what's left of Saints into the wood of returning to spawn. And, well, you know, this is kind of par for the course. Play the D.Va, get the stagger.
It happens.
Yeah. Ugh, Jaru.
But of course, now the thing is with this part of the map is the spawn is directly ahead of where Spartans are defending from, so it means that damage can be dealt in as Saints start to make their way over to this third point, so people can be brought down along the way, which is what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
And it also means they could potentially have to invest some of their cooldowns to get there, and that makes it really hard. The second you lose the momentum on the card on that last point, you're in this difficult position. But if Cronenberg can get this EMP,
well, only finds FizzDog, but the shadow coming in over the top does find Kotanks and Dark Dagger. Oh wait, no, sorry, I miscounted. That's the EMP just then, getting 4. Still not a huge amount of kills on the back of it. Jaru with the shatter, able to find Cronenberg, doesn't get Mia. Mia has a sound barrier, brings it in, keeps everybody alive. Jaru with the charge, once that follow-up swing finds Hazard, and a cheeky turnaround fire strike into what's left of the grab, and then on the hunt just to try and get this poor lonely little Zarya left at the end. The charge! Yes, gets the kill.
Flying off the edge, and now Saints, they have less than 2 minutes to try and help settle their fate, because if they don't get it all the way to the end, then that gives Spartans an even bigger advantage to take this third point and go all the way to finals, and that's certainly not the position they want to be in. They're sitting on one ultimate right now, that is the nano boost, potentially going to go into Hazard so that he can go in, be aggressive, which is what we've seen this team like to do, but they have to ensure that they're targeting the right person. There's the nano boost.
Yeah, but look at Spartans move right back out the way. They know that's a threat they don't want to give too much value to, but they back out, throw in the hammer down. Hazard with one of their own, maybe coming in even better finds 3. Hammerfall put on the ground. Kotanks hacked and deleted. Hazard now pressures out that Transcendence. Hammerfall coming in, wants to put what is left of that Transcendence into the team. The Gravital Surge and the Self-Destruct. Nothing coming out of either of those. The Cronenberg and Magic Marv starting to turn this around as we hit the 1 minute mark. But Magic Marv is going to be looking for these final few kills. As the payload starts to round the corner, we're getting very close to the end there. Now, on board with Lynx, looking to maybe try and get a big anti or a big sleep as the recontest comes in. But there's no recontest, and that is going to be a complete for Saints.
There's actually a really nice example of teamwork there at the end with Frostbite and McMagic Marv, where McMagic Marv, he was so high energy, he was up at 99 moving forward onto a stunned member of Spartans who's been protected by the Brigitte, but actually Frostbite moved forward, used the shield bash once again, got the Brigitte out of the way, and that allowed McMagic Marv to come in and actually clean up those last few stragglers and make some space for the cart to be moving forward. So that's of course going to give Saints a really good position now, as they have made it all the way to the end. Less than a minute to go though, not the ideal time bank, but certainly better than nothing, and definitely better than not getting those 3 points. So the responsibility is on them now to hold Spartans back, and they're going to be holding back for their lives.
Yeah,
because
I do
so
feel like,
much relies on this defense, Phil.
I do feel like the Spartans' defense was maybe a bit of a let's throw something at this and see what sticks. Feastdog on the soldier running around the side, playing these weird angles, left the team in a 5v6 for a lot of it.
You're definitely right. Alright, Saints getting ready to set up their defense, going for something very similar here, where they're going to have that kind of anti-dive with the McCree. He of course also has the mobility, and especially on this point where you kind of have that center area, it's nice to be able to have the roll to get around. And Farah, traditional on this point, back from when this map was first introduced, you can deal the rockets down in, but with Kotanks currently looking like he's sitting on the Widowmaker, that's going to put a lot of pressure on Frostbite, so he's going to require all the more support from Mia to keep himself alive, and Hazard's going to be looking to try and get some key hooks. Obviously, try and combine them with McMagic Marv, with the halts, but especially if you can get someone like Feazdog and bring them down, that could be huge.
Well, a couple of swaps coming out. In fact, a whole heck of a lot of swaps. Jaru now coming out on the Orisa, Kotex on the May. In fact, this is looking a little bit Clockwork Vendetta-ish. The Orisa and the Hog, and the May and the Diana. It's a classic. Frostbite on the hunt for targets. Hammerfall's going to get the opener though, with Hazard going down. Obviously, Mia is there to bring the res in if there's enough space. Frostbite taking a bit of a dink to the dome there. Feazdog now on the Hanzo, alternating between looking for the Farah and trying to burn down this main tank. Maya now in the sights of Feazdog, opts to go straight back in, and Kotanks on the May is going to make life very difficult for Hazard on the Wrecking Ball. There's the big sleep. Oh, a displacement there. Might actually have saved the team, but the war comes out. Feazdog already has the Dragon. Kotank getting one onto Kronenberg. Feazdog taken out by Lynx, but luckily, Kotank's right there to get a bit of revenge, and that looks very much to me like that's going to be Spartans capping this point. Kotank's giving themselves a little bit of a boost to try and get an angle there onto Frostbite, and Saints don't come out of this with any ults on the board ready to go.
They're kind of close, but the question is if they're going to change up. Actually, I have to say, one of the things I really liked about Kotanks' May on that point wasn't necessarily to do with the freezing that was available, but what Frostbite kind of had on Feazdog was being able to shoot into him while he was looking to act as shield break. Now, what Kotanks could do was provide the wall to prevent the damage coming in from another angle onto Feazdog and allowing him the space to focus on just one target. And that worked really well for them.
Frostbite has the barrage ready to go, looking for that angle. Wants to get rid of that immortality. It's down. Now they've got a bit of space to pile in that ultimate. Kronenberg looking for something. Finds Element Whiz. Almost nothing out of that ultimate. Frostbite still has this barrage. Not going to need it though, as we are going to see Spartans sent right back to point. Feazdog, last old dink to the forehead. Taken out.
Yeah, it's just the constant boop, 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 boop. But, both of these teams, they're sitting here pretty well prepared for forthcoming fights. And of course, as this fight is taking place on the corner, that means that Kotanks could be in a good position here to throw in the Blizzard and then have someone like Dark Dagger bring out the whole Hog to actually completely displace everybody and take advantage. With Frostbite gone as well. There is so much on the side of Saints that is not going to be available to them now, and that means that Spartans can potentially just move forward now without having to invest a lot of these resources, which they can then use in a later fight.
Yeah, Hazard does get one at the end there, taking Hammerfall out, and we lose Feazdog to Frostbite as well, so Spartans maybe not quick enough to capitalize on this. They are getting a bit of payload progress, but it might not be enough as Frostbite finally might have the opportunity to use this barrage, although Looks like maybe Element Wiz has other thoughts about that, though very dangerous, getting very close, and Cronenberg able to get rid of Kotanks. Frostbite finally throws the barrage in. The hook from Dark Dagger, too late, too off-center. Not going to be enough to stop that coming through. Spartans look like they're struggling a bit here.
Well, a little bit. They're being very annoying, especially with all these walls and whatnot. But I think the fact that they missed that really important hook there is going to feel bad because it allows Saints to stay on the board. Now, Saints bring out the amplification matrix as Spartans start to make their ingress once again. But I'm wondering maybe it's a little bit too early.
Yeah.
They could have perhaps used that, or at least saved it for later.
Spartans did get a little bit of progress on that last one. They're very close to capping the second point.
They are, but, you know, importantly here is going to be that time bank. So, even just being able to hold on for a little while is going to be very good news for Saints.
Ooh. That's Feastock down again.
Spartan's making a rotation, so actually coming around the other side of the payload while Saints were distracted. That's kind of a rookie error, I have to say.
Yeah, a little bit. And now, of course, they're going to have that Blizzard ready to go as soon as that aggression comes in. Dragon, though, coming out might be enough, although the whole hold from Dark Dagger is good. Frostbite in the backline looking to try and get a few picks, but they're going to complete, so they've got another 3 minutes to go at this. And that was pretty much all on the back of a positioning error coming out from Saints.
Yeah, I think at the point at which Saints realized that they couldn't see anyone, maybe that's when they should have sort of turned around.
It's
or
quiet.
At least kind of had someone on the payload, but Saints actually having a disconnect here, so gonna have to wait for that one. Oh no.
Where did you go?
Everybody
Where
saw
have you
me
been?
standing up. Look, the screen's really far away. I have to go and actually walk over so that I can cast, otherwise I have to wear glasses. and look
Casting
like a
Insight,
nerd.
guys, honestly, you get a more energetic cast when you stood up.
Casting Insight, if you see people sitting at a desk when they're talking to you, chances are they're not going to be casting from that
Yeah,
desk. A lot of people like to stand up.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain in this case. The man behind the curtain being our producer, who I'm sure is, I don't know how he feels about us giving away the behind-the-scenes secrets. But anyway, 3 minutes left on the clock now for Spartans to get this done.
Yeah.
Looking possible.
It's certainly looking possible. I mean, they have a number of ultimates on the board. Obviously, we can't see the game right now, so I don't remember exactly which ones they do have on the board. But they've certainly proved that in those kind of, I don't even want to say clutch because there's still too much time left for that. But in those situations where there's only a little bit to go and they have to have that final push, then yeah, absolutely, they can prove themselves. And I mentioned it earlier, but I really am looking out for Jaru, who I think has been a consistently solid main tank throughout this entire series so far. And as we move into the third point, which is a lot more kind of enclosed than that second point, which is very wide, very broad, and that's why you typically see people switch off of things like the Pharah when they move from the first point to the second point. Someone like Jaru is really going to be able to take advantage of that enclosed area because they will all be able to kind of say, all right, we're going to be going for this one target. And Jaru has been very consistent in being able to actually get a lot of value out of those target calls. He's getting a lot of support from the rest of the team. And I think on the side of Saints, I really like their support line, but it seems that, I don't know, for example, Mia always pops her ultimate and uses her ultimate and her resources kind of in a retaliation kind of way, you know? It's always in a response to something. It's always because Spartans have come in and made a little bit of mess of Saints. And so that kind of, opportunistic, proactive style that Spartans are currently running, I think will work very well for them in this more tight area. Because actually, you know, Hazard is someone for whom that also works really well. But the difference is Hazard's being targeted so much, and Jaru's not really being targeted as much as he should be, and so Hazard's not being able to get that value off, and that is the primary difference between those two main tanks right now.
Yeah. But we're now at the point where we're not going to get a round 2 on Eichenwald. We're going to be... It's sort of all or nothing for both teams now. And it's 2 minutes 10 seconds difference in time bank at the minute to try and get the same sort of difference.
Believe you.
Yeah,
I'll believe you.
something like that. And we've seen just how much time was actually burnt off the clock there on that second point, because it seemed to me like Spartans sort of sped through that second point when it was their round, but when it was their defense, Saints sped through that, but Spartans had a really, really tough time getting past the multiple angle threats that Saints were using.
Which is why it's kind of funny that, obviously the reason the Spartans were able to finally take it was purely because of Saints not really paying all that much attention to where they perhaps should have been. But of course, back into the game now.
Yeah. Well, it looks like kind of hard to tell who we lost there. Although both teams a bit of a swap up. Jaru's still going to be staying on this. Orisa, nice Hulk hook, the old oink and yoink coming in. Dark Dagger and Feastdog getting two. Dark Dagger and Jaru aggressing right the way in, and a big pull is going to find Frostbite. And Saints now, they're going to have to move over to a whole heap of store heroes to try and get this done. Feastdog rapidly approaching, having this dragon ready to go. Magic Marv taken down, and it was almost not even worth coming back to game. That was over so quickly.
It was very quick. I mean, really, the fact that Jaru used his supercharger at the end there. So in that situation, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying about very close range and closed area, is the supercharger won't be really left behind. You'll still get value out of it because the length of that last stretch of the point is so short that the supercharger's range is still going to apply even as the payload moves on forward. And yeah, Saints, they tried to bring out the Wrecking Ball. Obviously, that's kind of what you have. You have the stall, or at least the attempted stall at the end there, but it's never really going to be enough. So now, on to another set of rounds. Boy, does this look familiar.
Yeah, I'm assuming someone on Spartans is going to play tank. Surely, guys. Come on. Yeah, Jaru. That's what I thought. Yeah, but still a lot of damage coming out from Spartans here. A lot of sort of spam damage as well on this defense.
Yeah, well, especially on point one of Eichenwald. I said earlier with the Farah, you can kind of aim her straight into those choke points. And these kind of bottom rooms as well, where you see a lot of people try to rotate through or come up from behind. That's where we'll most likely be seeing someone like Cronenberg on the Sombra start to try and come behind so we can get those hacks. The splash damage can have significant effects. And of course, Kotangs can start building up his ultimate charge very early with sights on the spawn.
Yeah, Saints going in for a pretty classic dive though with the Genji Tracer. Frostbite looking for angles, currently just finding Jaru's shield. Gets a big anti-nade onto him from Hammerfall. That gets Frostbite and Mia both. In comes the dive. Dagger not able to get the hack they might like. Keeps getting that interrupted, unfortunately. Frostbite getting right on their tail. Big sleep as well. Jaru and Feastdog getting the clear with the D-Mech and the kill onto Cronenberg. Dark Dagger still looking for targets. Just get the hack. It's the Pilot Diva form though, and the barrage from Kotanks. But Magic Marv having a really bad time of it as Pilot Diva there, hacked and then barraged.
Kotanks was just entirely free to do as he wished. As you said, Magic Marv had been hacked out, so it's not like he could provide any kind of defense matrix to go against it. That was very well coordinated, and now it's in overtime. Saints don't have much time to be able to try and move on forward.
Yeah, last thing you want to be is a hacked hamster. That's a heck of an awful time. Kotanks gets rid of Cronenberg, also Dark Dagger with the EMP, throws it straight in there. No fuss, no muss, no delays, out comes the Supercharger also. Goodbye Frostbite, goodbye Lynx, and that is going to be a full hold on point A.
Saints wanted so much for this GT dive to work for them, but the fact that Cronenberg got slept so early, he wasn't able to build anything up, that pulse bomb wasn't available to him, it really set them back while Spartans were building up those key ultimates. So now all Spartans have got to do is get one third of this first point and they go into the finals, Phil. The control isn't even entirely in Saints' hands right now. All they can do is try and hold a good defense. They can't go in and do an attack. They can't get a time bank that's bigger than Spartans at this point. They just have to hold here for 2 minutes, 15 seconds for the hope of a draw.
Yeah, and I kind of like the thinking we got coming out from Saints, if this is what they're going to stick with particularly with the Moira there, to try and mitigate some of the damage, because Spartans are going to be coming in guns blazing, ready to try and take this. Ooh, we got a
Saints
opinion.
Spartans have got into the finals, because even if they draw and they win the next map, Spartans have won 2, and they
Oh,
can
wow.
only win one map at this point. Saints literally cannot win. So Spartans have made it into the finals.
Wow. So yeah, you heard that, Saints. You can just have fun. Try and enjoy this last round. And they are going for a beautiful, aggressive. I love seeing stuff like this. Like let's just get in and smash them as early as we can. Playing right up against those spawn doors. Gonna try and trap them here, but unfortunately, we have seen Feasdog already get out. Is gonna be able to just get in and touch that point pretty much uncontested. Oh no, Feasdog does get found. So we may see Spartans held at spawn here, and wouldn't that be a way to round out a series?
That would be...
Held in spawn, but still winning.
It would certainly be funny.
Yeah?
I would enjoy that very much, and that's kind of why we're seeing this aggressiveness from Saints. What have they got to lose at this point?
Oh.
Well, Hazard, apparently.
Yeah, interesting to know that those trees off in the distance apparently aren't solid. And with Hazard down and the respawn so heavily in favour of Spartan, Saints going to have to fight a rearguard action here, shooting as they hit that backwards key. Anti-nade hits, Hammer 4 managing to get 2 in that, but Magic Marb low. 90% of the ultimate and charging. Cronenberg with the high noon might be able to get a couple of picks here. Not able to find anything. Too much geometry in favour of Spartan, but Magic Marb has the Graviton Surge ready to go. Throws it in. Element Wiz getting Frostbite though. The Nano Boost now onto Jaru. Gets the kill. Onto Hazard. The Shatter as well. Just for good measure. Time to swing that hammer and take your team right the way into the grand finals. Dark Dagger taking out Lynx. It's going to be McMagic Marv and Mia, the last to go. A valiant attempt at a recontest coming up from Frostbite, not wanting to let this go without a fight. Spartans are going to take us to 3-0 and move forward onto our grand finals at Insomnia.
Saints, who used to be the champions, who used to be the finalists, now gonna end their season in the semi-finals. It's gonna feel bad for them. There's gonna be a bit of a sting, but Spartans really showed to us today the level of coordination, the level of skill, the level of undercutting that they can showcase that means that they deserve that place in the finals on stage at Insomnia.
Yeah, and not that I want to paint myself as some sort of Delphic oracle or anything, but I did call Spartans getting to the finals earlier on in the season.
did.
So, that's part 1 of my prediction done. And if I get part 2 right as well, I'm expecting some sort of tribute to be laid at my feet.
Yeah, so of course we now don't yet know if they're going to be going up against the Swarm or the Pirates, who are going to be the next semi-final game that we do see today. But whoever it is going to be is certainly going to have quite a game up against them.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and so either way this goes in the next round, I think it's going to be a really great story, because if the Pirates go through, then obviously we've got Padshak on the Pirates, previously of the Spartans, and that's a great head-to-head. I'd love to see how that works out. But also, the Swarm, absolutely insurgent this season. Don't think we've seen them this far in the tournament in any of our previous seasons, so to have them come from nothing to semi-finals is already great. If they come through to the finals as well, then they stand a real good chance of upsetting this whole series. But we've still got that game to play. We're going to take a very short break, and we're going to come right back to you with Swarm v Pirates.
Maybe that's okay. Beauty like the sunrise, eyes like the moonlight. Hold my hand, it's alright, yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. Ooh, I love the thrill, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. Never let me go. Walking through these walls, oh yeah. Love me like a ghost. With you I get chills. has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you has brought me out of me. My love for you, 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 my
Welcome back, everybody. Here we go, getting ready for game number 2 of the semi-finals of this season's Arena Clash. It's going to be newcomers Swarm. In fact, kind of both newcomers to this level of play, Swarm and Pirates, now that I think about it.
Yeah, Yeah, these are definitely not two teams that we saw in the semi-finals last season. Swarm, in fact, I believe this is the first time that they have ever, well, at least their championship team have ever made it out of the group stages. So this is a really big deal for them. And of course, Pirates, a team that has been impressing us consistently throughout the season. So it's going to be very fun to see how they go up against each other. You can see the rosters up on your screen here. And again, kind of as characteristic for most of the teams this season, there have been a few shakeups as far as rosters go. Pirates, we've mentioned it so many times over this season. We have new people like Padshak who moved over from other teams. And in Swarm, only Wizard, Embromi, and Zealotspline are the three players who remain from last time on this team. So they also have some very new players.
Yeah, but clearly a lot of talent. It's unfortunate that we haven't really had chance to see them so far this season on broadcast. Unfortunately, I think the last game they were scheduled to play, due to technical reasons, we couldn't broadcast. So we don't have a good handle for like who the standout talents are on this team. So you know, another level of excitement for you here is finding alongside myself and Gio who the people are to watch in Swarm. But it's as we said before this, it's the potential for either a great upset storyline or a great sort of mano-a-mano storyline with Padshak going up against his old team if they make it through for Pirates. And going to be starting off again in Busan, going to be going downtown.
Well, I know from Swarm, I'm definitely going to be looking out for Mickey, who's not a player that I'm all too familiar with. But I know he is so fine. But he is currently sitting at the highest SR of this group, which doesn't always mean that much, but at 4.5k we should be expecting some good things from him, and especially going up against Padshak, his counterpart on the Sombras. There's going to be somewhat of a war between these two. Yeah,
well, there's the first hack. Mickey getting a hack there and getting both a lot of damage and a lot of ult charge there. In fact, this is an incredibly chaotic team fight already. Swarm playing sort of two halves centered around Momokona, who's currently out there looking for a bit of health. FAQ is going to get the first kill. Unfortunately, not sure who is playing under the Belong account so far at the minute, but Pirates are looking like they're going to be taking this first team fight, only losing FAQ, but getting first control of the point.
And that's obviously where you want to be. They do say that the first team to get control of the control point is more statistically likely to retain it for the rest of the game and be able to take that point. But in comes Swarm, starting to distract Momo on the Wrecking Ball. But Brute's there just to swallow up some of that damage.
Yeah, FAQ goes down first again in this fight. The Dragon coming out does eventually connect with Padshak, who I'm not entirely sure how they let themselves get picked up like that. Belong, again, not sure who this player actually is. The unnamed
we'll just
player.
Call him Belong.
Belong, getting a lot of feature in the kill feed. In fact, already 55% of the way towards their next Dragon Strike, having just got a couple of kills with it.
Well, that is a good place to be. Now we've got to watch out. Pirates. They do have the Nano Boost ready to go. Now all that needs to be done is put straight onto FAQ, and he can come in and get some great cleave damage, build up to the Primal Rage and displace Swarm. And of course, got to watch out for the EMP that could come out from Padshak. There we go.
Yeah, two-person, three-person EMP Wizard throws in the Dragon Blade, trying to counteract that EMP. Not entirely sure what the thought was that they do find disclosure, but it's not enough value.
That definitely is a question mark from me. There just wasn't. I mean, even with the EMP, I was kind of thinking, are there enough people really here for it to mean all that much? Okay, they found value off the back of it, but Wizard, I think it was just in a panic, and maybe it was because he wanted to switch over to the Pharah and decided he might as well give it a shot. So in that case, getting one person, not all too shabby. And now Swarm are in the position where they can put a lot of their own ults in, starting off with the sound barrier.
Yeah, and that's going to be the hack coming out on to Belong on the Hunter. Not the best recipient of a hack, except for the additional damage that he get on top of it. FAQ with the Primal Rage, looking to try and get a kill. There's a lot of bodies there and a lot of focus. Going to get rid of FAQ as well, and another Dragon out for Belong. Wizard with the swap over onto the Pharah is going to take FAQ. FAQ, often the first to fall in this team fight. Not a great look for a main tank in the situation. Swarm look to be in a position now to take that point over. That's going to be Brute demeched and taken down. Padshak there, keeping the dream alive, getting a few more bits of capture progress. Bought some time for the tanks to come back in and try and keep this up. Dapper managing to find Wizard, brought straight back in again. That's FAQ down again. But 85% of the point captured for Pirates, and with a Nano Boost ready to play, it's not a bad place to be in.
Yeah, really, you know, sometimes you see a team kind of trickling in like that and you're thinking, what are you doing? Just all disengaged. But it did mean that they were able to drag out their percentage to that 85% mark and gain some ultimate charge in the meantime. So in the next fight, they will have a number of things ready to them that Swarm have to be very aware of. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Wizard get targeted by the EMP because the Pharah in the sky often very hard to deal with. But Nicky's brought out his.
Yeah, EMP hits 3. The barrage over the top finds Dapper and gets the D-Mech onto Brute. Patchnak down also. Brute now with the Bunny Blaster, looking to find some value, maybe get that mech back, able to get out. Looks like we may just see the stagger coming in instead. That's going to be Brute down. FAQ goes in, looking for a little bit of vengeance, comes up with nothing.
And this is the last situation now. Swarm have overtaken in the percentage. You see Disclosure actually getting ready here, potentially to be using the Nano. Oh, he missed. Well, did he miss the sleep or did he just get early woken up? It doesn't matter, the Nano is on the board.
Yeah, but nobody there for FAQ to get value out of. EMP also thrown in, not finding anything. The hack comes out onto Momokona, but not enough to stop the minefield getting thrown into the point and getting the kill onto Padshak. Brute is able to get Wizard and get the equalizer, but once more FAQ falls to the Stormbow of Belong on the Hanzo. And Swarm look like they're going to carry this with people brought back into the fight now. The aggression from Momokona coming to get those last few staggers will find Disclosure, and that is going to be the point secured for Swarm.
Swarm are going to be feeling very confident right now, especially as they will be well aware of how much we've lauded over Pirates in this group stage. And Swarm, they haven't had their chance on broadcast to show themselves off, and this is where they are in that situation. So it's certainly going to be feeling very good for them. Moving now on into Sanctuary, looking like Swarm potentially going to be going for the EMP Blade kind of deal. I was going to say, they're not going to be running the Ana, but okay, Zealot's fine. He's going to be switching on over to the Ana there.
It's weird to see this setup where you're setting up that win condition on a control point.
Kind of, yeah, but the thing is, working alongside the Wrecking Ball is gonna have the job of going in and clearing that space and disrupting whatever it is Pirates are running. And it seems here that they're kind of going for their own sort of dive composition, looking very much for the level of healing that they can receive off the back of the Sombra. I'm not a huge fan of Sombra on dive comps, but we'll see if Disclosure can make it work.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. Get in, get a hack, secure a kill for the dive coming in, but it takes a huge amount of coordination to make work. We're going to see Pirates now playing around the point. They've taken first possession, looking to take first control. Swarm playing a little bit passively at the minute. But Belong able to get the kill onto Disclosure, getting very close to getting that Dragon Strike on board and ready to go. Swarm able to play an awful lot of angles here without presenting too big a target for anybody on Pirates.
Well, the key thing is the situation Swarm found themselves in was they changed their composition up. So you say they're playing passively, it's because they backed out and they then had an entire team to go up against who was sitting on the point.
Oh, early EMP hits 3. Stormball able to get 1 on the follow-up there. Still Wizard and Zealot Spine up, able to get out. Wizard getting a kill. Belong.
Okay. So, Dragon Strike coming straight in. And it's actually not gonna be enough thus far, Phil. Although there are a number of members of Swarm who are sitting on the point, but it's getting more and more brawly out here.
Yeah, you know, Pirates kind of looking here like they want to just play for every single bit of capture point they can get. Maybe try and push out a couple of ults from Swarm. But that may be just enough now for Swarm to finally flip this over. Stormball taken down. That's got to be it, surely. No, we've still got FAQ on the point, taken down once again by the Stormbow from Belong. And the final pilot deform taken out. Disclosure wanted to keep it going a little bit longer, couldn't quite manage it.
Well, they've managed to turn things around, but all hope is not lost for Pirates. It's not... You know, they have a substantial amount of percentage on the board right now, and Swarm have still got a ways to go to catch up. They're getting a Resurrect there, so they are going to have Belong right on their side, but Pirates have got so much to come in with. The Coalescence is probably going to end up being focused onto Wizard to try and bring him down and deal in that damage. That's what you frequently see when you're not running one of those long-range hit scans, and given the Pirates, they've opted to go for the Sombra and the Tracer instead, that's what they're going to have to be relying on.
Yeah, well, that's a big old EMP. Mickey does die as part of that exchange. Oh, and Brute is able to rob any and all value out of that barrage. So that's a big trade on the back of an EMP that really should have gone towards the Swarm. Pirates able to make that work out for them in a big way, especially if they can get this last kill and flip the point back over. Stormball's going to be coming out of this with the pulse bomb ready to go. Not typically a fight-changing ult, but certainly useful for pick potential.
Yeah, well, and that's the important thing, is you can get an important member of Swarm down, especially if they're going to go for the Mercy as the only alive support right now. Of course, the Ana is still, available. She's still a support who's on the board, but the thing is, Ana doesn't have that defensive ultimate that can be so useful to a team.
Yeah, Stormball quick on the turnaround, able to stop the hack completing. EMP comes out once more from Padjack, finds 3, but again taken out. Stormball with the pick there. It's a big pick, but long down already, meaning that's a huge amount of damage out from the team. They do get res back up, so they are going to be here in the fight. 99-47. Pirates now on the back foot as we see the D-Mech come through, and with the minefield now on point, it is going to be very hard for Pirates to hold on to this here, especially with just the tenacious Moira of Disclosure trying to hold on to the point.
Yeah. Okay. Flipped over. Things are getting sweaty palms. I was going to say things are getting sweaty, but I feel like that would give a much different implication than what I intended. Swarm still got some ways to catch up. Going to be looking out for Wizard to maybe build up that barrage that he can come down very low, which is what works in this map, and deal it in behind. But of course, we don't know if that's exactly what it is they're going to be going for. Padjack looking for those key hacks, bringing down the Mercy, but he gets hacked himself.
Yeah, going for that crouch game, trying to outplay the enemy there. Mickey B also very low. FAQ gets one with the Primal Rage. Out comes the Dragon Strike from Belong. Once again, finds Disclosure. Stormball gets Zealot Spine, and that's going to be one of the D-Mech, and the follow-up takes Brute out of the fight. Swarm still in control of this fight. Pirates not quite able to flip it over. Wizard carrying the team there at the end of that fight gets their final kill onto FAQ, and this is looking pretty dire for Pirates now.
It is looking pretty dire.
That's
yeah, there we go. Not going to be able to secure that. So that is a really confident start for Swarm. That's going to make them feel really good. We said it before, how this team, they haven't been on broadcast this season so far.
Now playing twice as hard to make up for it.
Right, the fact that they're actually getting the opportunity to show themselves up means that this is going to fill them with, I don't know, just so much positive energy that they're going to require to bring themselves through this series.
Yeah, and this is already the potential for that upset storyline we were talking about with, the newcomers in the form of Swarm.
Yeah.
Shutting Pirates out of the picture and stopping them, helping me make my prediction come true.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the really key things is the fact that Mickey, who, as I mentioned at the beginning, is counterpart to Padjack, he is such a high-skill player, and he was playing very, very well, and that meant that Padjack didn't have quite as free reign as he's seen in some series against other teams so far in the season. And so when you don't see Padjack having the space that he requires to be able to go and, whether it's deal damage, build up an ultimate, I don't know, whatever it is that his job is in that particular moment, when he's not given the room and the opportunity to be able to do that, that is exactly when the team isn't going to actually do quite as well as we have been seeing from them thus far. And Mickey has been doing a great job of setting that up for him.
So one of the things that struck me is that between Padjack and Mickey, the Sombra play has been really quite good. It's been good fun to watch, certainly.
Yeah.
But it feels like the EMPs themselves haven't necessarily been that impactful. There were a few EMPs, particularly in that last round, where the EMP came off and it got 3 or 4 people in it, but no kills on the back of it. In fact, it almost looked like it lost them the team fight.
Right, like that's the thing with the EMP is it's great if you think that you have a good opportunity to use it, but Sombra is one of the heroes that requires so much communication with the rest of your team, because you need to ensure that everybody else is ready to be going up and following up on that. For all your ladder games, you got to make sure if you're playing Sombra, then you're keeping in communication with your team. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out for you. You're going to have wasted time. That is time that you haven't dealt damage, because obviously it has a cast time, and then you're going to be trying to attack someone who you EMP'd, or you're going to be taken out in the meantime, martyr, going straight into martyrdom, and no one's going to be following that up, and then you don't have that resource left for the next fight, and you've kind of just put yourself at a raging disadvantage.
Yeah, of course, nothing worse than a Sombra that won't tell you what they're thinking at the minute, but of course, not a problem that these guys are going to have, I assume. All over at the arena, they're all talking to each other. I can't imagine the level of play that we're seeing here.
They're
if
all
they
just
were.
annoyed with each other, not saying anything to each other.
They're all just on in-game chat. Like, there's no vocal comms here.
Alright, let's have a look at these compositions. Swarm going to be starting things off on the defense, of course, as the winning team. They got to choose. Naturally, going to be doing that. Interesting that their defensive composition is going to be the Genji, Sombra, Ana. Frequently, we see that on the attack.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting how, what Pirates are running, you may expect on a defense. It's kind of like things have been switched.
Yeah, okay, looks like we're going for a bit of an early scout here. Padjack wants to get in and figure out what exactly it is they're going to be running into. Yeah, okay, guys, look, they've got a Winston here, they've got a Diva up on the high ground, there's a Genji. I'm just going to have a quick check on the point, but you guys can come out on what you've got, I think. We're okay.
Dapper changing things up, going to be going there onto the Batiste. That should give them some help as they potentially get stuck here in this choke point.
Man, just trying to get one over on Brew is a tough one. Knew exactly where the enemy Sombra was there. Belong chase right out again. Beautiful follow-up from Stormball. Also, that is going to be the main tank for Swarm offline. Padjack in the back with the hack causing the trouble. Drawing a bit of focus. And it looks like we're going to see the old shield and creep coming out from FAQ here. Hook comes out, not going to get anything thanks to the defense matrix coming out from Mickey, who's now playing the Diva. Dapper already has his amplification matrix ready to go. Wants to try and keep his Diva in mech if at all possible. Very nearly has the immortality field ready to go again, but Wizard already with that Dragon Strike online is going to get the D-Mech and the kill, and one man hold that point and help get the team kill.
And it was really disappointing for Pirates there that didn't work out for them, because only really against certain compositions, including the one that Swarm is running right now, are you going to be in a position where you can afford to run a composition where you're specifically expecting to have to sit in the choke point for a while. If they were running a GOATS defense, then they would have just swarmed upon you, no pun intended, straight away. So the fact that Pirates actually got to the point was really great for them, but they didn't clean things up fast enough before Swarm actually got those ultimates online and were able to do it back to Pirates themselves.
Yeah, but man, Padjack now over on the Ash, sadly EMP'd right the heck out of it. Kills coming in, Mickey B getting rid of FAQ. Padjack's going to stay roughly where they are, looking to try and get a little more charge, able to play fairly confidently in the middle of that immortality field. Wants to try and pile a bit more damage in, will get 40% of the ult. That's not a bad exchange, considering you've just been EMP'd. Brute on the dive here, knows that there is a Orb of Discord sitting on that Winston, not quite able to find the kill though.
Not quite able to find the kill, but they did get him out of the way, which is going to provide a little bit more space for Pirates to start moving forward. In fact, they're going to make a rotation around the side rather than being naive enough to go through main. But the Primal Rage coming out from Momo.
Oh, sound barrier. Primal Rage from Momokona. Belong able to get in and start doing some work. Momokona not able to find a huge amount of kill value with that Primal Rage, but certainly did a lot to disrupt Pirates. Now Dapper and Ash on the flank. Maybe don't want to reveal themselves, or maybe just want to get a quick reset there, as yeah, that's going to be them going down. But we're coming back into this with 3 ults for Pirates. 3 ults, but of course, Wizard was able to get quite a lot of value out of that Dragon Blade last time, but the difference is Pirates are probably going to be very aware that he has it. Now, the thing is, they don't really have all that much dive mitigation on their side. They don't have an Ana who can provide the sleep. They don't have a McCree with a flashbang. Maybe they can kind of hope for Stormball to get that key hook. Disclosure hacked right now. It's going to make it a little bit hard, and it looks like Swarm are actually trying to bait out the Transcendence, which Pirates could potentially use for their engagement, but I suspect that they're hoping to use it once they get to the point. Oh, the big hack coming out there from Belong is going to secure the kill onto FAQ. We've got the Bob, and we've got Padjack in the back, throws in the Dynamite looking for kills, but unfortunately, we've got Wizard there with the Weave Stick, getting out, getting the kills, getting a triple with that Dragon Strike. Brute with the self-destruct. Luckily, there is a pillar there for Wizard to hide behind. Zealot's Spire able to get Stormbolt as well. Wizard, now with the sound barrier in, wants to chase down these final few kills. Brute going to be demeched and knocked out of it. This is looking so bad for Pirates. Not even able to get a single tick as the last few members of Pirates go down. It's going to be Swarm holding on to all that honey.
That is not what you would have expected to have seen from this team. This team being Pirates, of course. Swarm completely impressing, and it really kind of does come down to the fact that they are able to get so much value out of just one ultimate. They're able to make that work so well for them that they don't have to, eat all of the time back. Or, obviously they're on the defense, so it's a little bit different, but they don't have to, waste so much time building things up in order to actually perform using those resources. They can just do it all in one, and they're very good at kind of forcing Pirates to behave in such a way that they are responding to whatever it is Storm are doing.
Yeah, I do wonder though, Pirates, they picked a very slow and steady sort of approach, and Swarm were just all over the place with these high mobility characters, causing a lot of chaos and a lot of disruption. It felt like Pirates just didn't know where to turn. And so, Pirates committing to that once again, if they're up against the same sort of comp coming out of Swarm, then who knows how this is going to go for them.
Well, it's getting close to the time to find out.
I mean, and this is what we said at the start of the last one, right? Looking at the two compositions, we'd expect the sort of thing Pirates are running to be on defense and Swarm on offense, and there's not really a huge amount of change here, particularly for the Pirates. They're running their offensive strategy as a defensive strategy.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how they decided to do that. I mean, Pirates, they look like, so far in the season, they've been very comfortable in this kind of composition, and Patchak's actually been a very effective Ashe so far throughout the season, and so the fact, he kind of got hacked a couple of times, and especially losing the Bob at the end. I believe he got hacked out of the Bob at the end of that last round. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
The thing is, Swarm know exactly who to be putting the pressure on, and it's working exceptionally well. It certainly means that Brute has got a lot of work to be doing because he's trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
But just a third of a tick to get.
Yeah, and obviously 3 minutes 37 seconds left to get it. There's going to be Belong looking to try and get a key hack here. He's going to get that onto Brute. That's a big tasty thing to try and get ultimate out of, is that Diva mech. Not a huge amount they have to back out, although it's still climbing if you keep an eye on that. Brute coming in, trying to play keep away, get rid of Belong over on the Sombra, which they're going to manage with a bit of help there from Disclosure. And with the Immortality field online and a lot of Swarm down, that looks like Pirates are going to be holding on to this point for now. Momokona just able to get out.
I think setting up their defense on this point here is essentially giving them a situation in which they don't have to worry about rotations because they're already there at the final hurdle, and that is a risk because when the attacking team, or rather if the attacking team is able to bring them down, they don't have another chance.
Oh, that might not be the greatest of trades in the world. They lose Disclosure, who was so close to that Transcendence, and of course Mickey gets rezzed right back into it, so this is really dire for Pirates. They have got the amplification matrix online, but Wizard, we've seen them be so effective with this.
He's getting ready.
Oh, he's on the high ground. He's got Blade. He's in your house. What are you gonna do, particularly as he's about to get this Nano Blade as well?
There we
Out
go.
it comes. Immortality goes down. Goodbye, Dapper. Goodbye, Stormbolt. Wizard cracks this right open. This Swarm swarming all over the point. Gonna get rid of Disclosure, and then it's gonna be the point flipped well and truly with a team kill.
And this is straight away, put Pirates into a situation where they're now going to have to reverse sweep if they want to make it into the finals. This is a team who you and I were so confident would make it onto the I-65 stage, and now there's a really huge question about it because Swarm have been showing them up so hard. So things are going to come down to the next few maps because Pirates have essentially been seeing their chances in this game go down the drain, and there's only one more hope that they can turn things around in.
Yeah, that's right. We are at match point now, and things are looking really, really bad
It's
for
gone
the
so
Pirates.
quick.
Yeah, I mean, if we think back to our previous game this evening, despite the fact that the scoreline said 3-0, every single map, every single point of contestation on the map was an uphill fight for the team.
Yeah.
But for Pirates here, it looks like they've not really had a chance to really get a hand in the game.
Yeah, and I don't know if I don't know, you can only kind of assume, you know, what sort of level of respect they've had for the opponent, what they've come in expecting, and maybe they've just completely underestimated this team that they've ended up coming up against. But nonetheless, they have to do something about it. They've got to change something, and they've got to maybe have a think about how they can prevent themselves being pressured and who it is they need to be pressuring. And I think that's kind of the sad thing for them, is that Brute, I mentioned him earlier, as the diva, you're typically the one who's trying really hard to put the pressure back and protect those players. And the thing is, Brute is trying really hard to do that, and still people like Padshak are going down very, very easily. So I think better for them, potentially, is to put a lot of pressure onto Wizard.
Yeah, Wizard feels like a real big piece of this puzzle right now.
Right, and usually you want to say, okay, well, the supports, and you know what, that has been happening somewhat. You know, we've been seeing members of the support line of Swarm be going down, but I think it's less about that, because Wizard's been doing very well without that entirely, to be honest.
Yeah, they really have. I'm going to be interested to see how Wizard fares on the Mei role. Obviously, a much different hero to the Genji we've seen from them so far. Worth noting also that we've had a substitution, IDWBU, coming in on that Brigitte Idwubu coming in for Pirates. And looks like we're going to see some Brute Pharah here.
Changing some things up. Well, Brute, he's a good Pharah.
Yep.
Everyone's just like, oh, but he's an off-tank. No, he is a fantastic Pharah. Going to be dislodging the Reinhardt, and actually that good hack there onto Momo. So it already looks like Pirates are coming in with a good idea of who it is they want to be targeting, forcing Swarm to kind of hide around the hotel there.
Yeah, and you know, this is kind of Pirates trying to throw things back at Swarm that Swarm were doing to them, using these angles to play against them, forcing them to deal with a lot of different lines of attack. Brute able to shut down a lot of these lines here as we see Swarm retreat into that hotel to try and get a few of their cooldowns back before they re-engage. And that's going to be the Reaper down already, which is a huge amount of your damage taken care of. But Mickey B is able to burn down Brute, so that's a 1-for-1 DPS going down. Swarm can afford to keep in this fight, although Brute brought back in. This is Pirates now in a very good position to take this. Fire Strike are going to be out from Omokona, able to interrupt that hack with the shield. The Dragon comes out from Idwubu, gets rid of Horrocks Kid. Makona goes down. Also, goodbye to Wizard, not doing nearly quite so well on the Mei this time round. That's going to be just Mickey B left to go, taken down by Idwubu, who initially looked like they were coming in on the Brigitte, instead lighting up the kill feed as a Hanzo.
And I hate to kind of put credit in the other team's hands, but part of the reason why that went so well for Pirates is because Belong was just doing nothing on Reaper. By the end of that Dragon Strike from the side of Pirates was used. It came out at 100% ult charge, and the Reaper was still sitting at 19%, just didn't do anything. So that's one more DPS who wasn't going against you, and that was pressure on the ground that could have been being applied, that wasn't, that Pirates didn't have to worry about.
Well, there's a big old EMP hits everybody who's still alive on the side of the Swarm. Idwubu and Brute able to get in and pile the damage in over the top. That's going to be a one and done. Mickey B trying to style things out on the Hog does find Idwubu, who's brought back in. Looking good for the Pirates.
Looking pretty good. Able to come down this streets phase without as much of a contestation. Swarm will be able to head in and, of course, contest this point once again. Come back just before Pirates are able to take it. And what do they have? They have the nano boost. Okay, so they'll be able to apply that onto someone. But are they going to apply it onto their tanks? They're going to put it on the Genji. Probably not. He doesn't have his blade just yet.
Well, doesn't need it. Wizard able to get two there. One with the dash reset, one with the shurikens. And on the subject of reset, we're going to see that coming out for Pirates. They don't want to take that fight if they can help it.
No, and that's something that Pirates have actually been fairly good at, as knowing when to, engage, disengage. And it's something that's kind of left over from the GOATS era. It's very important how that mechanic particularly works. But it's something that also means maybe you're just not dealing in the damage. Maybe this Dragon Strike will. Yeah,
Idwubu lines up the shot, forces, I think, Zealot Spine into the line of fire for Padshak, but now Belong over on the Hanzo gets Padshak out of it. Also, is an answering Dragon Strike all the way from the side. Doesn't find anybody, doesn't, in fact, even get the Supercharger. Swarm coming in big, getting rid of FAQ already, and the Valkyrie and the Supercharger committed into that fight.
Again, Pirates just standing back because they want Swarm to waste these ultimates. They want that Valkyrie to be popped and actually have little to no effect onto them. But Pirates also don't really have anything to their own name right now, and because they've been disengaging from these fights so often, it means that they haven't really had as much of an opportunity to build those up. So they're going to have to start being aggressive and engaging. And the thing is, running an Orisa means they can't just dive straight in.
Yeah.
They're relying on those DPS players to actually start to get that opening. But
That was weird. That was such a weird
that was
boost.
really strange.
And I think that was in part Pirates again being so good at disengaging. Wizard went in but couldn't find a dash, couldn't start that kill chain going. Will have the Dragon Blade for the next fight though.
Pirates are basically just waiting for this EMP to be online, right? They keep sending Patchak into the bag, but in comes the blade.
The hook finds nothing. And we'll see Patchak able to teleport out of the way. Wizard finds FAQ, but again, maybe not the biggest investment of ultimate, and now they've only got the whole hog in this next fight. Patchak has been kind of slow to get this EMP though.
He has been, because he's had to go all the way around, try and get a hack onto someone. No one really from his team can also help deal in the damage because, you know, they're around a corner, there's a shield in the way, so it's kind of solely been on him right now to build this up, and it has been a commitment because now they only have a minute and a half.
There's the
Sleep
EMP.
Dart out.
Yeah, EMP 2 on the back of it already. Prudent FAQ getting Zealot Spine and Momokona. We haven't had to use the Nano Boost just yet. And that's going to be 3 on the back of a huge Halt. 4 from Brute on the whole hog. Massive. And they still have that Nano Boost. That's great.
No, that's pretty good. It means that they'll have that available to them for the next fight. Of course, I'll certainly give them a little bit more oomph that I potentially require, but I think this Supercharger from FAQ could potentially be a little bit more important, providing more of the team with the damage boost that maybe they will appreciate. There we go, it's coming out now.
Yeah, Patchak wants to try and get in around, does find the hack, and the Dragon comes out from Belong. Sadly, goes a Rye. Belong brought back in by Horrocks Kid, but with the Supercharger now on the field, and sadly now out as the payload starts to round the corner. We may be slightly running out of resources here for Pirates.
A little bit, and now Swarm being able to take this on the corner, but here's the Nano, but the sleep, that's massive right after he got Nano.
Yeah, there's no Moss, and a big anti in as well. The Halt hook combo not coming off for Swarm, however. Pirates, again, threw a lot out of that fight. Not really anything left to go with it. Horrocks Kid's taken down. Idlebu gets the opener pick there, and that puts them in 5v6, 4v6 with a whole heap of healing taken off. Wizard able to find Patchak, now playing back over on the May, but taken right back out again. Looking good for Pirates. 1 minute, 20 seconds left to go, and the Dragon fired at the left-hand door, going to stop that ingress. The hook kill out from Brute, no follow-up required onto Zealot Spine, and the Dragon out from Belong. Might be enough to open this up as Momokona and Belong get a couple of kills at the end of the fight there. They now have a lot of bodies on the point, ready to contest with 1 minute left to go. Patchak still in this fight. TP's out, doesn't want to commit too much more to that.
They only have a couple, maybe. Oh well.
Oh, they got it.
They got it. I was going to say they've only got one more chance to actually try and take this, but I guess not everybody was disengaged. Finally got it. So they don't have the largest time bank of all time, 54 seconds on there, but it does of course mean that Swarm are going to have to be trying to beat that. But again, you know, kind of as we said, coming into this map, there's way more pressure on Pirates, because if Pirates lose this, then they lose their chance at being in the finals. That's it for them. Whereas Swarm, if they lose this, they have they just go again.
Yeah, I mean, the mental position for Pirates now, they have to win every game. Swarm can just relax a little bit more. Pirates have really got to be on edge if they want to take this all the way to Insomnia.
Okay, so now gotta wait and find out what it is these teams want to bring out. Alright, Pirates, they're gonna be heading into the defense. FAQ looking like he's gonna be on the Reinhardt. Kind of interesting. I mean, It's funny because King's Row, like the ultimate Reinhardt map, right? I mean, he's changing, but to see a Reinhardt now, it feels kind of alien, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. We've gone from, oh, this map's a great Reinhardt map, that map's not such a good Reinhardt map, to like, let's just run Orisa on our maps. Why not? Let's have permanent shields. Why not?
So they're going to be setting on up here, and of course Dapper on the Mercy will be able to pocket Brute and probably give Brute a really good opportunity to fire straight into the spawn, build up some early ult charge, which if he can use that on this first point, that'll be really key because he probably won't want to stay on the Pharah much past the first point.
Yeah, in fact, not seeing any rockets out from Brute yet though. Maybe they want to just hold on a little bit and not show their hand too
I can hear him in the air.
There we go, because he was camped up behind them. Wants to get in on top and pile in some of that damage. It's going to be a Winston on the high ground, taking a couple of the rockets to the chin there.
Now we want to be looking for Padshak to be getting hacks onto Wizard, stopping him from building up the ult charge, which has decimated this team so many times so far.
Yeah. Ult comes out there, need to be careful. There is a Sombra in the back line. Gonna find Momokona there from Padshak. Wizard gets the opener. Equalized out though with Brute going down. However, losing the Mercy here is honestly pretty bad luck for Pirates, because you're not going to be able to get that res anytime soon. However, with Horrocks Kids and the D-Mech going down here, this look Pirates might be able to hold and buy a little bit of time for Daft to come back in and help support the time. Idlebu coming out with a dragon already. Momokona going to go down. Nothing really out of that dragon. Buys a little bit of space and a little bit of time. Notice we've got Dapper now back in the fight, able to res Padshak. And Pirates are going to have that supercharger ready to go in the next fight.
Yeah, that dragon really just ensured that Swarm were all going to be backed off and Pirates had this little bit more space, and it also meant, as that the anti-nade had been added onto them, then they weren't going to be taken advantage of while they were all low health.
Yeah, Sibelong did get the hack off there onto Brute, but FAQ able to deal nice and firmly there with the Sombra as they came around the side. Brute now on the hunt. Wonders if maybe there's a Sombra somewhere around here. Trying to find this ultimate very close to it. Will have it ready to go. Padshak with the EMP has found a Winston coming around the side. Not quite able to connect the hack though. Has to TP out.
Well, you're gonna hope to be translocating out when Momo's right next to you and can spot you, and that's why Brute is going in. He tried to do it, but the shield, that was a really smart shield to just splash the rocket straight back in his face, and that's gonna give Swarm potentially a good opportunity, but they did get EMP'd, Phil.
Yeah, but that was a big sleep and a good follow-up there, taking Momokona down. Idlebu doing really good work on the hands. There's the Dragon Blade onto Wizard, but he was hacked and he couldn't use the Dragon Blade to really seal this fight out. So Pirates still in control as we hit 1 minute 30 seconds on the Swarm's offense.
This is certainly a good feeling now for Pirates, potentially the start of their turnaround. If they can hold this just for under a minute and a half, then they will be going into the next round. Dragon Strike coming out, but Wizard, he's still waiting here with the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, man, Idlebu's dragons, they've not really been getting a huge amount of kill value. And I think maybe a little bit early on that last one. Oh, EMP comes in, hits for the dive from Momokona, who has the Primal Rage ready to go. Wizard still with the Dragon Strike on board. Was hacked, couldn't use it just then. Self-destruct comes out as well. Only able to get the supercharger, but Wizard once more with the Dragon Strike, able to get Dragon Blade, even able to get 3-1 with a regular kill at the end, and that's going to be Swarm. They knew what their win condition was, and they set it up. Win condition is, let's just wait till Wizard gets Blade.
Well, the thing is, he had the Blade for a little while, but Pirates actually did what I was hoping they would do, and tried really hard to keep him down, so there was constantly being a hack onto him, so he wasn't able to be using it. But what ended up happening was attention was split. It's not the first time we've seen this today, but when it happens, that is when one team can kind of get in, and so when those tanks started to dive, that was when Wizard has his opening. Now switched over to these Reinhardts.
The 5-man EMP, Brute with a follow-up, taking Momokona down. You see a little more follow-up from there. Idlebu getting in, swinging that flail. Brute also in on the action. Pirates come right back in. And this is a really awkward place to get stuck if you're the offensive side.
Yeah, I was going to say, quite infamously, this archway is a very difficult choke point to start to get through. The payload is on the other side, and Pirates are actually standing in front of it. You can get Zaryas to build up their charge, throwing in those plasma mortars, and of course using their barriers right here, and that makes the defensive team so strong.
Now it's a race though. We need to see. Oh, in fact, no. Race is off. Momokona with the big aggression and also with the nano boost, which definitely helps. Able to get in and start piling in the damage, buying space for the team. We actually saw the nano boost come out onto FAQ there as well, who will be coming out of the fight with the Earth Shatter, and we've got a Graviton Surge for Brute. So Pirates, they've got a lot in that Pirates chest now. Lots of pieces of 8 to play for this fight with.
I actually think it was really impressive the Pirates were able to come out alive, given that Dapper was hacked at the same time to prevent him from using the speed boost to disengage, and that would have made it so much easier for Swarm to push up on them, but actually Pirates were able to get out.
Oh, there's the Earth Shatter, and we've got the Graviton Surge out as well. The Earth Shatter out from Momokona, but 2 on the ground. Not a lot of follow-up. Padshak with the EMP and the Earth Shatter over the top. Pirates running that right up the flag.
Getting that straight under the payload there gave such a good opportunity, and now that's pushed Swarm back somewhat. This gives Pirates a little bit of time to kind of pull themselves together a bit, recompose themselves. Swarm, they're going to be relying very much on this EMP. We see it used in these enclosed areas on these corners, and they can get a lot of people. So we want to be looking for Udwubu to be getting a shield bash onto the Sombra to stun him out of that EMP. That would be the ideal scenario.
Yeah, it's so key. Padshak asleep in the back of the Graviton Surge. The EMP finds 5. The follow-up from Swarm is massive. Stingers out, taking the rest of Pirates down.
Half a minute to go. Pirates, they may have some time to come in and contest at this last point. And of course, the pressure's on Swarm because Pirates got it the whole way. And they still have to get it. Okay, alright, okay. They get it to the end of point 2. So they have just under 2 minutes to try and get it the rest of the way.
Yeah, it needs to be a blistering attack for them to match the time that Pirates had, but I think it's going to be pretty similar regardless, unless, of course, it happens in overtime.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out. Momo, as always, being aggressive going forward.
Man, that's twice in a row those Reinhardts nearly fell in that pit, one after the other. Momokona with a Shatter. Going to be looking to find maybe on the back of a hack, maybe on the back of an EMP. No, a long way off that. Well, aggressive sound barrier. There's the response from Dapper. Graviton Surge comes out. Earth Shatter 2 and the Nano Boost. The big fire strike in from FAQ. The follow-up charge doesn't find anything. Still has the Earth Shatter ready to go. Not going to need it as we get that final kill through onto Mickey B. So now already a worse time bank for Swarm and an uphill fight.
Obviously, it was great of Dapper there to be using his sound barrier second, giving Pirates an extra time at the end where they were protected and Swarm were not. But coming into this next fight, fully expecting Zealot Spine to be putting his nano onto Momo because he really wants to enable his aggression. But that could just put him straight into the path of Padshak's EMP.
Oh,
there we go.
On the subject of which, out comes the EMP, the Earth Shatter over the top. Momokona down in the hole. FAQ comes up with the fire strike. Irubu over now on the brick, getting 1 in, stops the reset. Unfortunately, couldn't quite find that follow-up damage onto Zealot Spine. 10 seconds left to go. Swarm, can they pull this out and just brute force their way through?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Can they even get the touch? Oh, charge comes out. The touch is just there in time. And Horrocks Kids gets an opener. The EMP comes out as well, finds Irubu and FAQ. Padshak finds Mickey B. Momokona coming in, swinging the hammer. Wizard with the whip shot as well, able to get a couple of kills. So this looked like it was done and dusted, but Swarm brought it right the way back. If they can keep this up, they may be able to force this through in overtime. Momokona will have the Shadow ready to go as well. Disclosure, very close to this nano boost, but needs to be getting in quick. Padshak wants a key hack here, really wants this Reinhardt, who has the ultimate ready to go, not able to find it. The shield flips around, stops that EMP stops the hack from connecting. Stun comes out, Graviton Surge, locking up quite a few people inside. The charge comes out, Mickey B getting 2. Horrocks Kid with the follow-up. This is looking so bad for the Pirates, who look like they had everything under control. The Graviton Surge is there, but it locks into the payload. There's no contest, just the Ana left on point, and that is going to be Swarm pushing it through in overtime.
Why would you grab them on the payload? No,
I'll help you out, guys.
I have to say, you know, it must have been so frustrating for Padshak there because he knew he had to get that really key hack onto the Reinhardt, and he just wasn't able to get it off. And by that point, Momo was able to turn around. He knew what was going on, and all of the other ultimates were able to be invested by Swarm. In the meantime, Padshak had to get himself out of the situation, and it was just all too late at that point because everything came out from Swarm, and Pirates just did not have anything to offer.
And do you know what it came down to? FAQ, if FAQ had waited just a second longer for that charge and connected with the Reinhardt as he came round the corner, that would have kept them off the point, and they would have been able to get that through. Like, there would have been no contest.
Yeah, but that requires being able to see into the future, Phil.
I know.
That's a bit of if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike type situation.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, are you unaware of that reference?
No, no, that's a new one to me.
Oh my god, that's a very famous clip of Gino D'Acampo.
I see.
You have to go and look it up.
Okay, well, here we go, guys. We're all getting homework today.
Can't believe Phil doesn't know that reference. What the hell?
Look, I've heard some references around you and a bike, but that's as far as I'm going to take that.
What?
Wizard now playing the Widowmaker, looking for a pick there. Not going to be able to find that through the Orisa shield.
Shield well placed.
Oh, and we just heard pesky Sombra in the back line. Wants to pressure Wizard out. Knows now to be on the lookout. Well, of course, Padshak been doing such a lot of work on the Sombra. Of course, you've got to expect that coming in. Brute now, looking for these angles, playing around the corner. Can now relax a little bit now that Wizard is off the field. Brought back in by Horrocks Kids, unfortunately. So that's going to mean kind of stuck down in this area. FAQ very low, down and out. Mickey B able to get the follow-up there. Wizard gets rid of Padshak, and it's all falling apart. There is a hole in the ship for the Pirates. Not able to hold on to point A.
Yeah, that Orisa going down was really so crucial because her shield was primarily what was holding Swarm back, but now they're gonna capture this point A, but it remains in overtime. So if anybody is to leave this payload, then that is disastrous for this team in this round. So Swarm getting ready to use this Dragon Strike, it looks like, potentially to hold Pirates back, give them a little bit more room to move down the street. They don't want to be caught out at this arch once again like they were last round. Though.
Yeah, man, good prediction on that Dragon Strike. Not able to find any damage really with it, but does do a lot of work on getting FAQ low so that Mickey B can get that with just the hook kill on the end. Pirates are looking like they're struggling here. They don't have any ults. They've nearly got Padshak's EMP, but that might not be enough. Pirates, are they? I think they're just waiting for the recontest here. They're waiting for the full team.
It looks like that could be it. I mean, they know that the infra site has been popped. I have to say, Widowmaker in Streets Phase, kind of a strange option, but
yeah,
you know,
working out.
Oh,
zippity-zoppity around the corner for Brute, taken down. That's going to keep them in the 5v6. Looks like they're not even going to go for the contest here. Oh, got to be careful, FAQ. Nearly caught out again by that whole hook combo, the old oink and yoink. Wow, they just gave that up.
I mean, the thing is it's not like Swarm were going to gain any time, and if Pirates had gone down earlier in the map, then that would have put Swarm closer to the last point. Okay, Wizard's just offed himself, so maybe he's going to be switching over, but that EMP was huge!
Yeah, EMP from Padshak is great, but we've got to see some follow-up damage belong there. Using that wall climb, not quite able to get out of the way. Horrocks Kids brings Momokona back in, has the supercharger ready to go. Might not be enough, although with that whole hog coming out from Mickey B, able to get rid of FAQ, that's going to be where it stops. But Pirates still have a big, steep hill to climb to get that far in the map.
That is what Pirates have to achieve in order to hope
to get to Insomnia.
To move forward, yeah. They have to win this if they are to move forward in this series and move forward in this tournament. Swarm, they've set this precedent. And so Pirates now, they've got to decide how they're going to approach this attack. They're going to go for the Orisa, the Roadhog that they've been doing so much. Or are they going to stick to something more traditional King's Row? Are they going to bring Brute back on the Pharah? There are so many different things that they could do. Maybe Swarm decide that they want to go DPS again. Maybe they're going to run the bunker, as it looks like they are.
Yeah, well, you know, it can take a long time to dislodge it. It takes a key kill to crack this open, and if you're all stood behind an Orisa barrier, good luck getting that kill.
Attackers incoming.
Okay, so let's have this defense be set up. Looking so far like Swarm potentially going to start things off on the low ground, very similarly to how Pirates were doing on their own defense. They're not really doing all too much. I mean, they don't want to put the shield down just yet, because not only would Pirates potentially be able to see it if they've got someone in that top window.
Yeah, although I assume that having used that Orisa emote where she laughs at the puppy, they might have been able to just about hear that.
Yeah.
TNT
Sound
at the
cues,
spawn
my
doors. Doesn't find anything much. Dapper swaps back over onto the Mercy. Going to be pocketing Brute, I would guess. Although, Wizard now, over on the Ashe, going to make life a little bit harder. No, Brute actually going to be playing the Roadhog now.
Yeah. So, okay, Patchak's going for the Widowmaker, and actually they've given Swarm some false sense of security, because obviously they tested to see if there was a Widowmaker, and they couldn't find one, and now Patchak's just going to be looking for a key pick. And there we go! And now Pirates, they can have their in start to rush.
Okay, although Zealot Spine on the Mercy might be able to get there and get the res if there's not too much pressure on them. Well, that's going to be Momo kind of down as well. And so looking like a bit of the old colony collapse syndrome here for Swarm. Got to get a couple of kills in very short order to keep this going. And that just ain't going to happen. Pirates are going to do this with a minute to go.
Swarm were really pushed into a situation there where they kind of had to be positioned in the middle in order to continue contesting the point, and rotating over into the hotel, they then had Padshak kind of looking into their backs who would be able to shoot straight into them, and they weren't necessarily expecting that. So now the pirate ship,
Bastions,
for Pirates.
Point and click adventure.
You've used that one today.
Sorry. Man, this is going to be so hard to dislodge as well. Like, once the pirate ship gets rolling, it can be such a nightmare. And they've not really got... Well, other than the dragon, it's going to be... Whoa. Well, do you know what? That'll do it. Padshak taken straight out. 20 seconds left to go. Pirates, what even happened there? Such a huge pick.
That is not a good situation, because whatever they do now, this is their last chance. They have to touch, and this is in that awkward place in the map again.
Oh, Brute with a whole hog, but dueling whole hogs, and a lot of that going into... Oh, that's so unfortunate. Horus Kids able to take Brute down. Idwabu gets hooked, gets a lot of damage thrown into them, gets demag. This is all falling apart. X marks the spot, and it might be the spot where we say goodbye to the Pirates' chance of pushing this all the way through to Insomnia. Supercharger now on the field, helping get the kill onto Zealot Spine, but it's not looking like there's a lot of the Pirates left, as Belong is able to find Brute as part of this as well. The Valkyrie out now. Padshak going to be coming back in on the Doomfist, just trying to keep this going as long as possible, but between the Dragon and the Whole Hog out from Mickey B, that's going to be it for the Pirates. Swarm taking us to 3-0. They're going to be the counterpart to our finalist contenders at Insomnia 65.
That's completely not what Pirates were expecting to happen. They've been so confident throughout this tournament, but Swarm, they were just able to do it better. They were able to catch Pirates out exactly where was required, and their DPS just weren't being pressured like Pirates should have. They were focusing so much on Momo, who really, well, it's, you know, as a flat rule, great to focus on the main tank. When you're outside of those GOATs metas, then you can focus on those who are doing so much more damage into your team. And Pirates, they look like they kind of had a decent idea at the end there, bringing out that Widowmaker, putting on that extra pressure, and the pirate ship, it wasn't a bad shout, but they just weren't able to keep it alive, and now the dream of getting to Insomnia is no longer kept alive for them, and Swarm will be going on through to face Spartans.
Yeah, I mean, and that's who at the start of the season could have predicted Swarm v Spartans as our grand finals match? Yeah, I mean, Swarm have come from basically an unknown quantity.
I mean, look, here's the playoff brackets that we've seen this journey over the last couple of weeks. So Swarm, they actually, coming into the quarterfinals, are facing off against Claymores, who they beat 3-0, and then they beat Pirates 3-0 today. And so, I don't know, maybe this...
Looking at this bracket, it's been incredibly one-sided for a lot of it. We've only had
lots of 3-0s.
One game that wasn't 3 Overwatch, and that was Pirates v Steelers. Maybe that was a predictor of how things were going to go today. The only team to have dropped a map on their way through to this point in the bracket, unfortunately, couldn't make it through the semi-finals round.
Yeah. So... I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty well because the beginning of the season we were led under the impression the Pirates were definitely going to end up in the finals. And actually, I've spoken to Patchak recently, and we were talking about some of the kind of compositions and the strats that they had prepared for if they got through to finals, and they're not going to be able to showcase them now.
Yeah, it was all about shutting down Kotanks, and unfortunately, not going to get the opportunity to. So it's down to see whether Swarm can shut down Kotanks. Although, Kotanks has not been the standout player that we maybe have seen him be. He was.
Did you say that?
He was good. What I meant was, looking at him last year, it was like, oh, Kotanks did a lot to carry that fight. And this time, it's looking a lot more even across the board. It's the point I was trying to make.
Well, I'm very excited to see how that final is going to go. Of course, we're going to be casting it, so take that as you will.
Yeah.
And and this season has been definitely not what we expected, but I don't know, because of the fact, Saints, they were the champions, and they got into finals, and then they fell out today. Maybe this is the last time Spartans will end up in the finals. We don't know. I guess we'll have to wait until Insomnia 65 to find out.
Yeah, still all to play for our final two teams. So we'll be back in a few weeks. In fact, the August bank holiday for Insomnia 65. We hope to see you there.